meetings and whatnot, it's just like a loose time. But all throughout lunchtime, you're probably going to expect to see potential movement in Ford. I don't want to say it's going to move for sure, but yes, Ford CEO and the President Trump will be meeting today, 12:30 tentatively speaking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably more like 1 o'clock. And we're 1:02 away, so we didn't quite get there for the morning show, but I feel pretty secure that we're going to get there today. Thank you for getting us to potentially 550,000 subs. We are going to enjoy our paella.
Yes, we are.
Hopefully it's up to Costanza standards, which would be a good thing. And we'll throw you guys to the midday. It's Joe and Sharif. Go get them.
Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. This handsome gentleman is your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif, and I'm scrambling right now because I don't have the chat up. Oh no! And then we're gonna get it up right now. So we're gonna see exactly who's here. We're gonna shout everybody out. Let's go. No, I don't want to block the site. I want to pop up the chat. Ooh. There we go. Now we're good. All right, let's say hello to Gorev, and why not? We got Dubes. Already, bro?
Dubes already.
Andrea, One Life to Live Together. We got Christmas 123, Yannick. We got Emiliam, Esverin, Adrian Peterson. We got Juan freaking Padilla. We got the Smurf. We got Midwest, as my dad would say, cannabis, but it's cannabis, of course. Buffalo Soldier, D the Liquidator. Who else? We got Kirk D, Mike P, D Ryder, and Andrew Chow. Sit and Spin. I like that. Monkey Dungeon. Still Paper Trading. Shout out to Fluffsters, Fluffy Hippo. We got Wyatt. We got Masked Bishop and Big 40 Nephew. Shout out to Poor Robin Hood. And my name Jeff. Did you see this? My name's Jeff 007. I know you like that. Showtime BB. We got the Soul Queen 88 Joey Options. We got Skittles and Michael Baldwin. We even got Gladys in the house, as well as Lee the frickin' conductor. He's been conducting these markets.
All right, yeah,
hopefully.
Maybe a train conductor or something along those lines.
Yes, sir. Good morning, brother. What are you looking at, homie?
All right, yeah, good stuff, guys. Let's get right into things. Yeah, they're right behind us. You can see the subscribers.
Oh.
Just do us a solid. We're going to get to that 550. I think today, only 100 more. We're going to hit that 100 mark. I think during the midday, so
I hope so.
Do us a solid. All right, guys, let's get right into things. What are we looking at here today? We're going to start it off with a short on RCAT. What? Okay, a little bit of a different name, but I seen right out of the opening drive, straight flush, you get a little bit of a rebound of breadth within the stock, and then you see some indecision prints right at the volume weighted average price, leading us a little bit lower. So what did we do? We had to participate, and Disco, we would never hate. Don't worry about that, my friend. I know you're only joking, and we don't get frustrated about those things. But RCAT, definitely one of our better ones here this morning.
You traded RCAT?
I traded RCAT.
Hey.
Yeah, man,
I like it,
matter,
bro.
right?
I like
Whatever
it.
the 4 letters are, they can catch it, Sharif. Doesn't even matter. All right. Now, as for Intel, listen, I've accidentally put in too many shares here at the lows. I'm like, oh no. And then I never got back in. I punched. I was like, oh, that's not good for the unrealized profit. So we had to get out when we were supposed to, just in case we were going to partake in a breakdown. That would not have been good. But we engaged later at the break of the volume weighted average price. And then we get a nice solid move. There was another hammer candle printed right at VWAP, but we didn't take that second attempt to the long side, our third attempt, I guess I should say. And sure enough, you do put in a new high of the day. Intel up 6 1/4 here this morning. A big time move. Silver running into that $80 mark in which we were talking about earlier this morning. Another big time move in SLV. I mean, if you look at this name for the past, we're going to add on what we had yesterday.
Okay.
So 20%. Now we climb another couple percentage points to the top side in SLV. This thing has been an absolute monster for the year of 2026 and even in the latter half of 2025. So keep it up with silver. I know a lot of people are buying it in the 60s. Congratulations to you as that continues to work. And I think it will for the foreseeable future. But Intel, definitely one of the hotter names this morning, getting an upgrade by KeyCorp. So it decides to skyrocket, also with a price target raise of $60. Almost a 33% increase from where we're currently trading at, a little bit less. But that is some nice PA we're seeing in Intel. You know what? I'm just going to have to say it how it is, in my opinion.
Say it,
10% stake from the government, 9.9 to be exact. What else do you expect from this thing, really, Sharif? I think that we're going to continue on this trajectory. But Assassino told us.
Oh, tell him, Joey.
This trade has unlimited upside. Who's that guy? All right, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. But let's take a look at some of the names that we have on our radar this morning. And we're going to start it off with the TQQQs. Sold off aggressively about 9:30 or so, a little bit after 9:30. Nothing wrong with that. Starting to get a recovery, but the volume weighted average price once again coming in as some solid defense. I've now shifted a little bit of my focus to Bitcoin. Yes, you guessed it. Something that I often trade, but I have not been for the past little while. Bitcoin trading up to $53, around 93,000 on spot itself. And then there is Intel looking like it's going to head towards a key neckline and some support. But those are the four names. I did have RCAT. I switched that with IBIT, so we're not going to complain whatsoever. Let's see what we got going on with Bitcoin.
All right, man. Here's what we got. So let's get right down to work because there's a couple of breakouts happening as we speak in the world of small cap gappers. So the first one I'm looking at right off the bat is XAIR, up 138, almost 140%, 250 high, back down into the 210, 211 area. It's losing the 10 EMA. It looks like it may have support at $2. It didn't really use $2 as a resistance level all that much, but it certainly did use it as support, especially after making that 250 high, drop back down, tested that $2, ended up holding up. Now we're just a smidge above that level. So XAIR looks good, but definitely pulling back a little bit over here. XTLB, another good one, up about 75%. Put some respect on this one's name. This one definitely looks like it's got that clear area of support at the dollar. You get a double bottom at 1020 and 1015 and 1020. And now it's kind of trying to work its way back above VWAP. It seems, for whatever reason, to be finding support off that yellow line. That yellow line will always be the 20 exponential moving average on the 5-minute charts, on my black charts. Never will it be any different. $1.41 high, trading at $1.17. This one has wide ranges per candle. What do I mean by that? Well, just take a look at the price of this stock and then take a look at the average range per candle. We get some big boy candles here, and they're just not one off or two off. There's plenty of them. What does that mean? Well, that means it typically has a propensity to reverse once it makes a big move up. Now, we saw that initially when it made the initial high day at 10:05. We saw it again at 10:40. So that's part and parcel of getting to know the characteristics of XTLB. It looks good. I'm interested here picking it up in the 110, 115 area. But there's also edible, right? EDBL, and that might be too early for even the most ardent of cannabis lovers out there. Shout out to my dad. $1.14 high. This one was doing all but no volume in the earlier time of day. The volume really started coming in around 10:30, and I don't know why. I don't really care. Okay, but the volume is here now, and we're getting about 750,000 to about a 1.25 million shares per 5-minute candle, up 78%. Just printed the day's high, so we're going to keep an eye here on Mike P. the Rider. Of course he said that.
Yeah, of course.
My man.
Yeah, my man.
Yes. Okay. So he likes edibles. I like that. I like you more now, Mike. IBRX not up big, 10 and change, looking to go on 11, 290 high. Volume's a little. This one had a great day yesterday, so it's a continuation play. IBRX continuing to give the longs something to trade. You remember EVTV? We had all sorts of trades on EVTV yesterday, some good, some not so good. And this one got absolutely parabolic. You want to guess when? Who's going to guess when? The aftermarket, of course, when the halt parameters are non-existent, the volatility halt parameters, I should say. News pending still does. So anyway, 402 high technically takes out that 4 a.m. high that we put in, which was about 397. It's 402. The way I see this, it looks like a prolonged bull flag with the breakout coming at 1020. Looks like we're establishing a bit of a support level in and around 350. It does have a tendency to wick below, but there's also a resistance level to talk about here, and that's very, very clearly 3 mid-70s, 3 high 70s. Look at the umpteen amount of rejections we get below that 380 area. There's only 2 prints above that 380 area, and they're both a double top, and neither of them closed above that area. So we've been, it's been tough to print anything above 375, 380 on EVTV. RCAT is hot garbage. Shout out to Joey for taking that one short. And then TE, again, you know, this one's been showing up a lot on my scanner, not strictly a small cap gapper, but a lot of support here at VWAP and trading, you know, in a way that we can probably finagle some trades here and there possibly on if there's nothing else. So first and foremost, I'm going to be looking at Edible, and I'm going to be looking at EVTV. I like the look of IBRX as well, and XTLB. XAIR, it's going to have to start putting in some higher highs because right now it's just a plethora of lower highs ever since making that 250 at 1025, that $250 high at 1025. So no trades yet for me, but we're going to set up here and we're going to see exactly how we can weasel in, whether it's on EVTV or whatever, Joey. What do you
Right on, right on. All right, guys. Yeah, so a lot of people talking about Tesla here this morning, continuing its bounce. I like this print right here. Where's my boy Gorev and Los Polios? Yeah, I'm sure they're looming around somewhere trading, doing their thing. He crushed it on silver yesterday. Congratulations on that. I'm happy for you, man. You held it throughout that the volatility in which I didn't. So a nice move there on SLV from Gorev once again. We had some hot trades on that trade, on that name between the both of us. So we'll continue to do so. But Tesla, look at that indecision print right around the lows, around 446, 444, getting closer to. And now you're going to go test that pre-market high. I think this can be a potential resistance zone in which you want to look out for. And if you do break, watch out for Tesla to continue its climb. We'll head over to the daily and see what we got going on from that perspective. And if there's anything telling us, hey, we're ready to rock and roll. And I think that's going to be the narrative here in Tesla. You know, Brando has that as his pick. This thing could be absolutely monstrous. We did touch that 499 level. It's only a matter of time until it breaks that 500. Someone in the chat wrote that autonomous vehicles fully no safety driver there anymore in all of Austin. So slowly progressing there, and then once he starts to expand and has the ability to do so in other major metropolitans, then I think he's going to be skyrocketing. We talk about Waymo having a lot of autonomous miles, but then Sharif, you mentioned not too long ago, don't forget FSD miles as well, because that's extremely important. Logging those. And I think that Tesla's going to have the ability to just surpass what Waymo's doing. Why? From a production standpoint and their production capabilities is just so much more vast, that being a car company as well, and significantly cheaper from a vehicle standpoint. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on TSLA, and I haven't been trading it as of late either. So we'll keep our eyes on Tesla.
I want to build on your point.
Yeah.
Yesterday, late in the day, we got word that the robotaxi had found, the robotaxi rollout for Tesla had found its way to Chicago now. So widely speculated.
And, hey, listen, Waymo here coming to Toronto. I don't know when we're going to see it.
It's going to be super interesting to see how it works with the weather. I can't wait to see how that works.
I think that's the big question looming around, obviously, the colder climate countries and everything like that. Like, how are you going to operate? And it's going to add a lot. I think it's going to, not only are they going to kind of scratch off a lot of what and ifs, is that it's going to help advance the technology as well, too, right?
Oh, yeah, considering
no question. From a camera and the LiDAR standpoint.
Well said.
It's really important to get involved in all of that stuff. But, guys, other than that, I'm looking at SLV as it looks like it wants to break that that 80.60 level and head into $81. We were talking about this not too long ago. Watch out for silver to continue its climb in the year of 2026.
Sounds good. Yeah, and by the way, as well, we're seeing a lot more of the robotaxi, like the actual robotaxi, not the Model Y driving autonomously, acting as sort of a ride-hailing autonomous. No. The actual robotaxi, that two-door golden car that he rolled out, it's all over the streets of Austin, and you're getting a lot of different takes, mostly on X. You're able to see that. More on that later, and I'll also have more videos for you on Waymo later. So we'll get to that.
You know what we don't? Do we have any video on the actual robotaxi itself? I feel
That's what I just said.
You said Waymo. You're gonna have videos on Waymo.
No, that next one. There's Bear on X, your favorite social media platform, because I know you're on social media a lot.
Exactly.
Right? No, it's all over, Joey.
Yeah.
It's like in Austin, everybody's taking videos of the actual robotaxi on the street.
I've seen a couple, but nothing like the Waymos, obviously, in California. I want to see the robotaxi head into California and how people react around that, because we know how the people of California typically feel about Mr. Elon.
Well, that's the other thing, right? Like, but it's well, I'm not going to get into that. But no, you're absolutely right. They are operating technically in the San Francisco Bay Area, but they're not operating with the right license. So they still have a driver.
Yeah, finding loopholes.
Exactly, yeah.
That, so.
All right, let's get down to work. Yeah, that's the way it is, Assassino. He likes to kind of live on the edge there and fight with the law. All right. I'm in EVTV over here. So we already took a couple of prints into 69. I took a couple of prints at 69. But as I've mentioned, my perception here on EVTV is we're locked in a bit of a range. For the most part, we're finding support at 50 pennies. And again, for the most part, we're finding resistance at around 70 to 75. I'm trying to build a position towards the lower end of that range with a view to taking the breakout if the breakout should come. Now, I'm going to be ready for bamboozlement, knowing that I'm not the only one perceiving this range. And if I'm not the only one, then there's going to be the other trader who can move the market because he's got big boy money and who may want to stop me out. A specialist breakdown, or a specialist breakout as we call it, only to have it move along its merry way to the high side. I'm going to be alive to that on EVTV. That doesn't mean I'm going to DCA into an oblivion. That just means I'm going to be strategic in where my stop placement goes. But I'm seeing that XAIR is starting to make a move to the high side here with the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, and here we go. So it had been lower high, a symphony of lower highs on this one. Now, I'm not saying we've cleared it with any decision or any vigor at the moment, but I'm looking for a decided break and a hold above $2.30. I feel like maybe if we get that $2.30 break, then we'll have decidedly broken that lower high trend. We'll have to wait and see. It's showing me 2.25, 226 now. Seems like there is support at 210s generally, but I feel like we're still suffering from that lower high, so I don't want to be super quick to jump in. Just got that dip trade at 351 on EVTV, so this one's going to have to hold this general area as we talked about with that range having established itself already. We're also putting in lower highs, though, on EVTV, but I still like the range. I don't want to get bamboozled too quickly over here. So we have 55s, and there it goes right back up. Better cost basis now. Let's go ahead and set up a little bit higher now into the high 60s, as this one just did find support at the $0.50, rocketing up now. I don't want to say rocketing up, but moving up into the high 60s. Let's see if we can get that print at 69. We've already taken a couple of prints there at 6.9er. Back to XAIR. There you go. Now the candle that on the 5 is looking at like a topping tail candle. So this is what I didn't want to jump in too quick. I need to see a decided break of the lower highs, not just a quick wick to show me, hey, you know, I broke above the prior candle high. Well, that's fantastic. Good for you. It's not good enough for me. I'm going to need to see something decisively above 230, if not mid 230s, to kind of work my way into this one. And then I want to load up Edible as well. Let's put some respect on Edible's name over here. XAIR. Okay, good. So EDBL, where is this? On the NQ? Nice. Eat edibles on the Nasdaq, Joey. All right, so look, we're at, I see VWAP here, a little bit below $1 at around 98 pennies, give or take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a position here, and I'm going to give it to about 95 pennies. So that's less than 10 pennies worth of risk. I'm good with that. I'm going to build my position on Edible. It's up 65%. Let's put some respect on this one's name. Let's see what we get. Okay, what's it called? EVTV breaking down a little bit here now into the low 40s. Is this an at spot, or are we going back to 330 where the volume weighted average price is? Let's see exactly over here. We've taken some shares out. Can take a little bit more risk. Let's give this one an opportunity to kind of set up. Nope, not letting me in quite yet. Didn't get the bid, didn't get the fill there. So tried to get some in the mid 40s, didn't get it. We'll see if it comes back down into that level. But yeah, that is sort of the specialist breakdown that I was talking about there to get everybody stopped out, because the range is, I perceive, 350 to about 3 mid-70s. So let's see what EVTV has to offer, Joey.
Yeah, great stuff. I think that's a fantastic question, Lemon Family, that you just mentioned not too long ago. How will they adjust to certain weather conditions? And what am I talking about is this snow. You can't really drive the actual speed limit when you have a heavy snowfall on highways and even just the average road, right? So
you have to drive, on the conditions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's a fantastic question. All right, guys, let's head over to our scanner and see what we got going on. We're going to go through multiple names here and just run through some names that have the most amount of volume here this morning. Never mind the daily. We want that 5-minute time frame. And across the board, we're seeing a lot of indecision prints around these lows. Commodity Kings was talking to me about CrowdStrike. Yeah, I mean, that's starting to move, but there was aggressive selling right out of the the gate in that opening drive, in that opening auction. So keep that in mind. Here's NVDA off of the lows, a nice strong move and heading towards this pre-market wick high. I think this is going to be a key level in order for us to break through. If it can break that and then continue its ascent higher, then sure enough, who knows what's going to happen. But we were talking about this not too long ago. We've been moving sideways since August. A couple whipsaw moves. I mean, you get these gaps up, but this is overextension at that point, and then you just head right back into this consolidative state. What I would look to do is get involved in the low 60s. I have this in my long-term account, and I have no issues with adding a little bit more for the lower end of the range, and then the continuous climb a little bit higher, and then we break out. Because the name's so strong, earnings reports, we know that they're usually one of the, they are the last of the Mag 7 2 reports, so you're gonna have to be patient and wait on that. It's probably gonna come in February, early February, or something along those lines. But nonetheless, let's continue our scroll in the scanner and see what we got going on. Tesla starting to come off of these highs. Buying pressure starting to step in. Told you about this pre-market zone that we need to keep an eye out. So there's a supply at 451, and we can't seem to break it just yet. Netflix going opposite. We talked about this for quite some time. A week where the opening drive was straight flush to the downside, and then you got a recovery later in the latter half of the session. Hasn't been the case. Yesterday, another strong opening drive, kind of identical to today's price action, and then now you're starting to come back in a little bit, but you're starting to form that consolidative zone right here around the 89.40s. All right, now as for Applied Digital, we love this name, but finally starting to sell off a little bit. We'll take a look at it from a daily. Consecutive days, and you almost tap into this previous pivot high, which is going to put you around that all-time high, but not quite yet. A nice solid breath. If you get a little bit more of a pullback and you hold this 35.24 level, sure enough, you might have the ability to break through there. Now, as for some of the quantum names, D-Wave, what have you been up to?
What is
Look at this print. Look at this print, Gorev. Look, Sharif, from November 24th, you're looking at a 60% return off of those specific lows. So a nice little move and a recovery here in the quantum space. That's exactly what we're looking for. A couple more. Clean Spark, what have you been up to? Nothing substantial. You're still down quite a bit off of that previous pivot high, $23.60. You're down 47%. Palantir doing not so bad either today. We'll take it, but consolidating just like NVDA is. K-View, nothing else really attractive. So I'm going to keep my eye on what we got going on. But one thing to note is that INTC is starting to form this downward channel. Just be cautious that you might get that liquidity grab and break the channel, and then sure enough you climb, and then you head towards that lower support, because it typically does that. But INTC, we're going to keep our eyes on that one because we had a nice trade on that earlier today. And I think RCAT, I'm going to remove that from my side chart as well, because it's probably just going to move sideways for quite a bit. Usually does that in about an hour, a couple hours after the open.
Sounds good, sounds good. All right, edibles making a decent move here. We got the lower end of the range at 103. We ended up taking the high of the day there at 14. I've set up next at 17. Back down into 5 and 6 it goes. Unsure how this one's going to trade, but it's going to be focused right now on EVTV because this one just made it into VWAP. So let's have a look over here. Is this one going to find support at 330? I've already put my stop into this one. I debated flattening out break even. Yeah, it feels like the reversion trade might be on here on EVTV as this one's going to lose here the 330 area. I'm just watching a little bit more. I still haven't triggered my stop at the $0.25. This one is looking like it will, yep. So then we're going to have to stop out on this one. So we'll give back a little bit there on EVTV. Not a good hold, breaks down from the range in the wrong way. So we'll focus on the next one. Now keeping an eye here on Edible. This one forming a bit of a bull flag. Let's see if it holds up as opposed to EVTV, which not so much at that volume weighted average price. We also have VWAP and the 10 EMA right around that dollar area on Edible. So I like the fact that it's kind of accumulating here above the dollar as opposed to accumulating below, so we can use the dollar as support. Don't want to add too much too quickly, but you definitely see the lower end of the range there in around 104, 103. Here comes that 103 area again. Let's give this one the old college try, see if we can get in a little bit more here for a nice move back up into the mid to high $1 area. So let's set up some profit takers on this one, see if this one wants to pop back up. I'm still keeping an eye, by the way, on XTLB. My mistake. XTLB, keeping an eye on the side chart, excuse me. Looking for this one to kind of hold above that 120 area, but it hasn't quite made its way back up there yet. So we're going to have to give XTLB a little bit more time. Edible still dilly-dallying around that dollar area. Doesn't look like it's going to break out. quite yet. In fact, I think it did breach prior bar low, so it's going to have to hold this $1 high 90s area for me to stay interested. Yannick letting me know about ALMS, and this one hasn't done too much in the way of volume, nor is it really up that much on the day, about 5.25%, which isn't a bad look. The problem is it's substantially above the volume weighted average price as well as the 10 EMA. It looks like it might be bull flagging. Sorry about that. Looks like it might be bull flagging with some higher lows off that $22 area support, but I don't really want to guess, to be honest with you. So I want to see if this one wants to come back into that, 2180s where the 10 EMA is, find some buyers there, and then we might get involved with that one. So that will be my look. Back to edible, nice pop-up after the ad. We get that print there at 7s, but the one at 10s still goes unprinted. So edible continuing to dilly-dally above the dollar and the 10 EMA on the 5. Outlaw Trader says, look at PDYN. Let's have a look at PDYN, see what that one is up to. Not the best look, brother. It's up 14 2/3, so I can see the interest. I don't like the lower highs. I don't like the fact that it's not really respecting VWAP as an area of support and resistance, kind of more of a line of best fit. So that one wouldn't really fit my criteria. Moreover, it hasn't broken above the pre-market high that it put in at 820, which is about 756. But thanks for mentioning that. If it kind of changes its tune a little bit, we'll get involved with it. Other than that, though, I'm going to steer clear of this one. So the only trade I'm in right now is edible, EDBL, up 65%, trying to hold above the dollar. But we'll have to wait and see whether this one can continue to hold up. What else I got over here? BDSX is just not doing enough volume, to be honest with you. It's up nice, 8%, just got into the high day at 878. But I don't want to be punching in if this one is not going to hold up on volume. And then XAIR is just continuing to put in lower highs. Now, has this one found support of the 20? Not really. It really hasn't interacted much with the 20 at all. It looks like most of the support was found at the 10 EMA with a couple of outlining prints that found support at VWAP. VWAP on this one, a little bit above the 1 3/4 area, about 177 at the moment. I'd be interested in just picking it up for a psychological support trade at $2. That's still about 11 pennies away. I'd give it about 5 or 7 pennies below $2. It stops out. Then I'm looking the next level, like I mentioned, at VWAP, which is a 177. So that's for XAIR. Nothing else. Nothing else, quite frankly.
Hold on here, Sharif.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, man, there's a big volatility spike that just stepped into the market. If you guys can confirm this, something going on here potentially. So on the 1 minute time frame, we were talking about this not too long ago.
Yeah.
A big time move here in the TQQQs. So something stepping into this market, because look at the volume on the lower time frame, and then sure enough, you're starting to buy right back up. Here's Intel right at the volume weighted average price as well, starting to see a little bit of buying pressure, but across the board, silver starting to sell aggressively. And then Bitcoin looking like it's going to get somewhat of a rebound here. But that is a big-time volatility spike. I was thinking about going short, waiting for the pullback and the hold of the volume-weighted average price, and then sure enough, take it to the downside. But that stepped in. Adara, talk to us.
Honestly, I'm not seeing anything yet. I'm sure there is something, and I'm still looking, but I do want to let you know coming from the Resources Minister of Greenland with regards to the U.S. and Greenland. We know for geopolitical tensions, this story certainly has been relevant and continues to be. Again, this Greenland Mineral Resources Minister saying that we could accommodate both the U.S. and Greenland's interests. Okay, here's the news, though, for the market. So NVIDIA related story here. The information reporting that China is restricting NVIDIA's chip purchases to special circumstances. Again, the information reporting that China is restricting NVIDIA's chip purchases to special circumstances. It is worth noting the market doesn't tend to take any of the information story on NVIDIA too seriously, or at least it hasn't as of late. But either way, NVDA here on Watch. I'll put up the headline for you guys as well.
I mean, it's interesting stuff. We're not gonna get overly political here, but I have to just say one thing. God forbid China take Taiwan, but the states can come into Greenland and hop into Venezuela like there's no tomorrow. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm not gonna get too in depth with it, but call a spade at the end of the day, man.
We'll see. We'll see if they can do it, man. Have you read some of the reports about the weapons that were used in the extraction process there?
I don't want to know, man.
You don't want to know?
No.
All right, I won't tell you that.
Yeah, okay. I want to know now.
Some special stuff. Yeah. Some special
100%,
stuff.
man.
I don't know, man. I don't think everybody's got that kind of weaponry, but we'll see.
They don't. Dude, there's zero chance.
It's next level stuff. If you believe the reports, of course, you have to believe the reports. Otherwise, it's moot. YI, thanks to the Fluffsters. YI is the ticker, up 32%. Nice breakout there. Volume just coming in, really at 1125. Other than that, the volume has been super light on this one. So I'm hesitant to do anything on YI at the moment. But yeah, right around that 480 area-ish. It looks like VWAP's at 465. It's losing the bid pretty quickly here into that area. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Let me just update my side chart, YI. There we go. Now it's definitely lost VWAP into 4.5 it goes. Nothing for me to do here on YI, but we'll keep an eye on it. Still holding edible, basically break even, looking for this one to hold VWAP. It gave me a quick scare because it did lose VWAP. Now trading right back above the buck, but we'll see how this one does, man. I mean, I'm not liking anything at the moment, guys, quite frankly. To the long side, that is. XAIR is continuing to drop down. EVTV looks like it might be finding some support here with some bottoming tail candles through VWAP at that 330, 325 area. Still hasn't put any new candles to make new highs, so don't want to be quick to jump into this one. I need proof that it's going to hold up. Everything good?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at there. But other than that, if there are any new small cap gappers that are on the scene, let me know. I'm keeping my eye on my scanner up here, but nothing's really coming, nothing's really all that good. So blacked out. I didn't get blacked out, man. What are you talking about? Aurora Alpha, I'm fine, man. Are you talking about the weapon? Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. All right, well, maybe we'll get to that on the news segment. But for now, I'm just going to continue to keep my eye on edible. And I definitely want to keep my eye on EVTV over here. Here it comes. So a few wicks below VWAP. And now it's got a higher low relative to the prior candle and a higher high, not on a closing basis. And the closing basis on this candle won't come for another 4 minutes or so. So what we can do, you can get in here, give it to prior bar low, and there it goes. Rockets right up into the 3 mid-40s. Now, is this a specialist breakout? Wow. Oh, Joey, why did I wait? There's the breakout, man, from the 320s into the 350s. What a rocket ship this one was. Yeah, I shouldn't have waited on that one. You wait, you snooze, you lose. Right up into 350. Let's see if this one's got the juice to kind of get back into that range we were talking about. It was a 350 to 375 range. It's now at the lower end of the range. So my question to myself is, does it use the prior low end of the range as resistance now? And again, that is that 350 level. Let's see if this one dips back down. If it doesn't, then I'll take the trade in the mid-50s. But if it drops back down and starts doing the same kind of range dance it was doing earlier with 330 now as support or 325 and possibly 350 as resistance, and we'll trade it as just that. Other than that, I got really nothing else on the small cap gapper side of things, my man.
All right, man. Yeah, so I mean, we're posted up on Bitcoin. We were waiting for that 52.90 and never caught the fill. Right after that volatility spike, stepped right into the market. But one thing that was definitely a missed op was the Intel trade. Right at the VWAP volume weighted average price, you're holding, and then you get that massive spike. You can see that the market decided to move south. This went completely north here, all the way up to 46.90 on INTC, now up 6 1/8. Now we'll be patient to wait. I'm not going to chase Bitcoin all the way up there, so I'll just remove that bid and look for something else to potentially trade, something that's slightly lagging. But you don't want to find a ticker that is too far behind, because there's a reason, right? There's sellers stepping in. Has Meta find somewhat of a bottom? I got eyes on my boy JPM, Jamie Dimon and company there. Let's see if that's going to work out. But we open up on META around 641, and then we climb all the way to 624. So that's an aggressive sell-off in META. Netflix not doing too much either, guys. We'll take a look at that. But guys, we're going to send you off to Adara with crypto.
Let's talk crypto, because Bitcoin here had a very, very interesting level on the daily chart. We've talked a lot here about these higher lows and a little bit of a resistance level. Well, we're right about to come into that level of resistance. That's going to be just around 95,000, but more specifically 94,750. This was also a level of support, at least temporarily, going back to November 14th, 2025, a week before we made that crucial low just above 80,000. So let's see if Bitcoin can take out this level. This push today, quite promising, given we consolidated for quite a lot of the last handful of days. Let's take a look at Ethereum, continuing to mirror BTC in terms of its chart pattern. Though in the case of Bitcoin, this resistance level isn't going to be 94.7. It's going to be around 3,300. We'll take a look here at XRP as well. We haven't looked at this one in quite a while. XRP trying to, I think, mimic some of the shape here in terms of what Ethereum and Bitcoin are doing, but a lot weaker looking here as this chart, and this level of resistance a bit farther away. Currently, we're trading around 2.1, level of resistance here right at 2.4. So here's a look at some crypto names. We'll send you back over to Sharif and Joe.
Stuff. All right, yeah, eats with bears. Okay, all right, I see. You don't have to tell me you're biased or anything along those lines. No, I mean, hey, 115% at the money IV, not too bad whatsoever. I mean, that's heightened for sure. And then you do have some activity at that $30 level on QBTS. So a good call out. Even if you climb a little bit, $35 strike price, you're going to start to see a little bit more open interest, but this is where the volume and the OI lay. So a pretty good look there on QBTS. We may as well take a look at the chart while we're at it as well, Sharif. QBTS and some of the quantum names. I know we were talking about it not too long ago, but there goes Intel climbing right back. This is what I was talking about, guys. First and foremost, let's take a look at QBTS. There it is, D-Wave, almost getting to that previous pivot high. That's going to be your opening drive high at 29.70, starting to come back in slightly aggressive inverted hammer candle. But this is what I was talking about not too long ago. Watch out for this trend line to break, and at this point, you want to look for any forms of indecision if you are going to look for the short side, all right? And then here, 5-minute candle, hammer candle, boom, punches through. You have that volatility spike, absorbs enough liquidity, and then sure enough, you're starting to climb a little bit higher in the overall market. Bitcoin, it's unfortunate that we missed out on that one, 20 cents ITM, IBIT.
All right, IBRX is really the only one that is making the move. Let me just make sure that edible. Okay, perfect. Let me just ALMS. I don't need that one on there. IBRX, light on volume, but it's making the move. It's making the move. It's a 1 penny spread. It's up 12%. It's at the day high, 291. Clean hold off that 10 EMA, and it goes right back into the high of the day. Yeah, look, the pickings are slim today, guys. That is just a fact. And they're really not holding up all that much. So I'm going to have to be a bit more patient today. I won't be able to get into too many positions like we typically doing. So that's the case. It might be a bit of a slower start to the day, but IBRX will be the one that I'm keeping my eye on. Now, if it does come back into that 10 EMA, which is different now in price and where it had been previously more around 285, that would be my buy area in and around this area over here, that 285, to kind of shadow this prior area of resistance. I'm going to continue to keep my eye on edible, but it is losing that dollar again, and now it's putting in multiple lower highs. So it feels like the shorts are in control right now of edible. Yep, and there it goes, right back down into 92. We're going to have to take that one out. So we'll start 0 for 2 on the day. Okay, tough start to the day, but we'll keep an eye on it. We'll work out of it if we're presented with opportunities. But EVTV, this one is still doing the dance at around 3 mid-40s. No prints above that $0.50 quite yet. In fact, it's continuing to put in lower highs. So it really does feel like IBRX is the only one that's really catching a bid to the high side, but that's just the kind of way the way that works. XAIR, I'm continuing to keep my eye on as well for the break of the trend line. As soon as that trend line breaks on a decisive basis, I'm going to get into this pretty quick because I saw this story on EVTV yesterday, the one that we're seeing right now on XAIR, where it has a fantastic day and then it just puts it, the shorts get their moment in the sun where we kind of put in a bunch of lower highs and they take this down. A lot of people looking for that $2 area to act as support. Well, locally, it's acting as support, but the general trend is still lower highs. So if we get a decided break above that trend line, that will be kind of my cue to get in on XAIR. Otherwise, I don't really want to catch a falling knife, especially with the unbroken trend of lower highs. IBRX will be the only one that I'll get in at the 10 EMA at the moment because that one is continuing to kind of stair step up, albeit with a little bit less volume than I'm accustomed to. That's it, Joey. To be honest, man, there's not a whole lot to trade today. What do you got on your side?
Yeah, good stuff. I'm actually, we'll do it live here, man. I gotta widen my cross here. So if you guys were ever curious or ever, I don't even know why you would question if this is legit or not, but I'm gonna put my cross to 20 cents. And these are my different gateways. This is my hotkey setup because when I'm punching, I'm just not getting the fills that I want. So I'm just gonna widen my cross substantially to see if, as soon as I hit that key, I want that price because we're going on marketable limit and not on limit. So I'm going to apply that, and because I missed out on that Bitcoin, and it's happened to me on multiple occasions. So going from an 8-cent cross to a 20-cent cross right there, just to get involved relatively quick. INTC, talked about that trend line break. Look for any forms of indecision just in case we get that move back in towards the top end of that channel, and then maybe we can breach VWAP at that point. But it is a strong name, a lot of positive going for it right now. So don't expect too much of a continuation on the short, especially with the Nasdaq continuing to climb higher. Same narrative. I was waiting for this pullback. We now punch through. So any forms of any hammer candles, any doji prints north of this zone, I'm going to be looking to take a short. Let's actually switch this up a little bit so you can see a little bit more clearly as well. I think that's going to be really important. All right, we're not going to do that right now. We'll do it later. So essentially what we're going to have is this pre-market support level. If we do breach that and the volume continues to kick up, which it doesn't seem to be the case right now, if you look at the 5-minute profile, we're starting to slowly stair-step down. I like this for a potential move back into the top end of that zone. And who knows, a continuation to the short side. I was looking at Amazon short. Let's pull that up here for you guys momentarily and see what we got going on. An inverted hammer candle right at that zone. I'm looking for the same things over and over again. And I promised myself this morning I'm not going to be trading too much, but hey, that's all right. We'll rock and roll. We had RCAT and we had a nice little move on INTC. Also, don't forget, I don't know why I'm telling you guys, don't forget. Don't forget, we had surgery 11 a.m. tomorrow. 11:20 is when the boy is going to be under the knife.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, 11:20, my boy. Yeah, so we'll see.
All right.
God willing, that we rock and roll from that. I remember I was like, man, hopefully I don't like wake up after the anesthesia and like say some incriminating stuff. Not like I have to or anything along those lines. But I remember last time I was telling the surgeon, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm throwing touchdowns and all that stuff. Never thrown a touchdown. Yeah.
You gotta get a family member to be there with the phone, right?
Videotape. Yeah.
Have you seen some of the videos online of some people?
Funny, it's funny stuff. So I'm like, all right, let's not say anything too silly. All right, this is what
you're gonna be good, bro.
Yeah,
you're gonna kill it, and you're. I'm gonna keep telling you the same crap, but you're buying like another, I don't know, a lifeline on your knee, man.
Dude,
you know what I mean? It's all worth it.
What I was doing wasn't sustainable. Is it like I was just walking around and paying?
Let me ask you something though. What did he say in terms of recovery time?
9 months.
9 months until you're good to go?
Yeah, like I should be back at 100%.
That's pretty good.
Months. Yeah. I mean, it was 12 months before. It was 12 months before, but physio 3 to 5 days after the procedure. And so I thought that was relatively, I'm
that's
like, what
quick.
the, yeah, that's quick, man. That's pretty quick. So I'm happy about that. They're going to start bending the knee and everything along those lines. Not like we bend the knee or anything around here, Sharif. All right, anyways, aside from that, this is what I was talking about here on Amazon, a nice little move lower. Let's see if we get that retest. Still eyes on the TQQQs. And we have IBIT putting in a new high of the day momentarily.
Okay, I got in, I shouldn't say back, for the first time on IBRX. Let's see if this one holds up. It's a 291 high. We're in at 87s. That is an interesting area here. I do have a DCA at 83 to defend that 80 area. We'll put the first profit taker right around 90. I want to mention a couple of ones. One, Fluffy Hippo gave me this one, NTLA. It's really about who we're going to take off. I'm going to take off XTLB because it's not doing anything. NTLA, look, it's not a big mover, nor is it up a lot on the day, but it's at the day high at 1220 right now, and it seems to be respecting the hell out of the 10 EMA on the 5. Now, it's not strictly a small cap gapper because it is $1.4 billion market cap, but it had a good day yesterday and it's continuing today. So shout out to the Fluffsters for this one. I want to see this one kind of test that $12.05, $12 area in and around where it had that consolidation. It's a 1220 high. I think it's coming back down now into the 12 mid-teens. Let's see where this one is. 12.15 it is. Okay, so 12.20 high, it's at 12.15. Let's put in maybe a dip trade for that 12.07, 12.05 area. If we can get something in and around there, that could work. But it's really, look at this, guys, TE. Like the most obvious trade is one that I'm not involved in. TE, again, not a small cap gapper, but right back into that 835, 840 area. That's where the high is. Holds a 10 quite well at around 8 1/5, and now looking to test that high day at 840. So not too bad over here, Assassino. Or is that Ram? Is that Assassino? Oh, it's that's why everything's going haywire. I'm like, why isn't it on the screen? And then, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I can't hear you that well, Ram. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just knew something was afoot, and I look over, I see a ponytail. So I'm like, okay, well, that's probably why that's all happening there. But yeah, Joey, that's it. Keeping an eye on, what's it called, IBRX. Looking for the dip trade here at 283. Otherwise, it's going to be either TE or NTLA. We're going to have to set up a little bit more strategically, though, on NTLA. Still waiting for that.
All right, man. Good stuff there. Mike B, who's who, my friend? Yeah, I mean, I'm chilling here as well, guys. I don't have anything that I'm looking at right now. There was a couple missed opportunities on Intel. Obviously, hindsight 2020 and shoulda, coulda, woulda. You just got to punch the key and take the trade when you're supposed to. We did try to get involved in a little bit of Bitcoin, but again, that's why I displayed to you guys. We're going to widen that cross and make sure that we get in exactly when we want to. Damn, take your eye. Oh, okay, all right. Now I wasn't going to read that one. But yeah, Intel, new HOD coming in momentarily, and then we have silver still climbing higher. The thing about SLV is just every dip gets bought right back up, and that just displays immense strength. So we head over to the daily. You're putting in a new all-time high. I thought we were going to hit 80 yesterday. That didn't seem to be the case. But it's like, don't worry, Joe. We're going to gap up here. We're going to trade hard in the overnight markets, and then we're going to climb a little bit higher. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive days. And now I was talking about, I think it's 35 sessions. You've only had 9 of them that have been red. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, 8 of them. So this thing is, put your money where your mouth is on SLV and just take the dang trade and continue to climb higher. I was thinking about going long. I did take an attempt on SLV actually this morning, and I got out prematurely. I'm like, what am I doing? I'll pull that up for you right now. And we took a loss on it, but look at this. This is big time what if history over here, guys. Boom. I seen this. I'm like, there's 0 chance that it's going to sell. I heard Neil say, yeah, we're going to wait for that move back into VWAP. It came a little bit later, which is obviously totally fine. I was thinking the exact same thing, but I just got out too early. I didn't give myself enough room, and it would have been $1 or so, a little bit less on SLV right out of the gate. You're up another 4 1/3%, Sharif, on today's price action. So, I mean, that's 25% in a span of, 2 trading weeks, not even here on SLV.
All right, we're going to give XAIR a try. It's breaking a little bit here above the trend line. We're going to give this one, I'm going to get small size so that I'm able to average in till 2. So we're in here at 222 exactly. So let's see what this one has to offer. It's got some higher lows here. It's marginally above the trend line, I should say, marginally. There's clearly a seller at 22s here that we can't shake, and it's obviously a hidden seller because nothing's really coming off the level 2. So we'll pack the patience. I'm going to put some orders here to get some strategic fills. Let's put some in the mid-teens, and then we're also going to put some in the single digits, try to catch some there in case this one catches a nice bid. Also keeping my eye, of course, on IBRX. This one not really filling me, but it did get back into 89. It's a 91 high. Looking for continuation into $3 on IBRX. What else we have? ALMS seems like it's changing its tune over here. So that one I could be interested in. ALMS. Let's go ahead and put that one on. ALMS on the NQ. Yeah, 2239 high. We're going to give this one a little bit of room, actually. We're going to get in here. Going to give this one to about 2180, 2190 we're going to give. So there we go. Throw that in. And we'll put some profit takers in the high teens, low 20s. Let's see if this one can catch a bit of a bid in and around that area. All right, back now to what's it called, XAIR. It looks like we did clear 22 momentarily, but no continuation on this one. So feels like the shorts are still, or the sellers are still in control here of XAIR, but it's holding to quite well. So if I can build a position for more liquid time of the day without getting in too much too quickly and then getting into trouble and having be forced out, I think that would be the most strategic play. and then IBRX coming into 90. And so that's where our order is, but we still hasn't filled because it hasn't crossed. And then we're going to put another order at 94, which will necessitate a high of day break. So those are the trades I'm involved in. I've worked into ALMS, I've worked into XAIR and IBRX. See what those ones have to offer. I feel like XAIR might be changing its tune just a little bit, but no confirmation there. Now there's 24. There's a monster seller at 25. So there is a whole bunch of sell orders at almost every level. We saw it at 22, and now we're seeing it at 25. So we're gonna have to shake a lot of these sellers. Otherwise, it's gonna be a mean reversion trade right back down. We got 22s on, so let's put some at 27s, and then we'll put some more in the 30s. Let's see if we can get something on this one, Joey. So 3 trades, no prints on any of them. So that's what we're gonna have to focus on now on these 3 bad boys. Let's hope they don't break my heart. Why no discussion about Palantir spike up? Oh, Jimmy, I don't trade Palantir. I mean, we'll speak about all these different names during the news segment, but your boy Joey Options, he'll be trading, you know, the market, the large caps, the mid caps. That's kind of, you know, his modus operandi. When it comes to my trades, it's only going to be these small cap gappers. So that's kind of what I focus on, Joey.
I like that one. Yeah, I mean, if you want to take a look at Palantir, you could just ask politely, and we'll sure enough be an honor to do so. $180 right there, now breaking through this previous pre-market pivot high. That's a good look right there. Bitcoin putting in a new high of the day as well, so just be cautious. I see an inverted 5-minute candle being printed on INTC at the HOD. I'm going to be cautious of this one as the market continues to climb. Man, it's a continuous narrative here on the TQQQs and the Nasdaq. I haven't looked at the SPY. I'm going to get my eyes back onto JPM because I want to just focus on a handful of names. I don't want to be scrolling too much. I like the buying pressure that we're starting to see here in JPM, so I'm going to be a buyer of this here momentarily. But what I was getting at is time and time again, we see these massive volatility spikes, and then we see these prints start to form, whether it be on the 1 minute, 5 minute, 3 minute, whatever you're looking at. They're going to be identical across the board. That's not always the case, but it rips almost every single time. So that's something to document, write it down, and when you see this for next time, try to take advantage of it, because I'm going to definitely do that in the Nasdaq. This is a bull market, guys. Even though we are slowly starting to cool down, by any means, it's just like buy.
Strong like bull.
Yeah, very strong like bull, Sharif, on that one. I was gonna make a Borat reference, but I couldn't really think of one. It just gave me that kind of feels. I'm gonna watch that movie probably after. I think it's.
You have a lot of time to chill and watch stuff, right?
Well, I'm gonna be watching Trader TV Live. I'll be chiming in on the chat and everything along the engage in the chat with all that stuff. But maybe we'll have Borat in the background or something.
You're gonna chirp us? Yeah, you're gonna be like chirping us, watching all our mistakes.
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna
stuff
be
like that.
You suck. No, obviously not, man. I only big up the team. The only time I will not big up the team is in competition, in which we are doing with our 3 picks of the year, and that's just how I am naturally, brother. I can't help it, man. I don't know what. As soon as I get into that mode, it's just like kill or be killed. All right, JPM. Let's get involved in this, guys. Right off of those lows, you're starting to see a little bit of buying pressure. You can see we have to start small because the volatility is most definitely in this. Right, so 313, you want to give it some room. I think that's going to be a good out. It's $1.50, so you have to go substantially less size. I'm going to post up at a price that I exactly want. Maybe we get 314s exact, and then hopefully we can find somewhat of a bounce here on JPM with fantastic numbers.
All right, man. Keeping an eye here still on XAIR. We got some higher lows here for the last few candles, but we're still suffering from the seller who's in the low to mid 20s. Here's 23 again. We've got 21s on, looking for the first print at 26, and then we're looking for a move into 30s. So I'm starting to see a bit of a change in the tune of XAIR. There's that seller at 25. Monster seller at that level. Look at the lottage. Over, I think, 1,000 lots. There he goes. He got killed. They killed him, Joey. All right, no, I'm kidding, of course. He's fine. He's alive. No worries. But we are changing this one's tune. Let's see if it's a bamboozling trade, though. Are they just luring in the longs only to push this one short again? But it did change. The reason I say it changed its tune is because it broke above the trend line pretty decisively. So let's see what this one has to offer. We've got 21s on, and we've taken some prints nicely into the high side. IBRX as well, continuing to do well finally. So we've got this one at 87s, took the print there at 91, looking for the next one at 94. So packing the patience on that one. Still yet to take anything on ALMS. In fact, I'm break even on this one, looking for the higher low trend to continue to kind of manifest. If this one can work its way back closer to the high of the day, which is 22.39, that would just be aces, because we essentially have right around that 22.12, 22.10 area. Back to IBRX, as this one is working its way right back into that high of the day, currently at the high of the day at 92. Looking for a move into 3 on this one. Let's see if we can get something in and around there. Not too bad, not too bad. And then, by the way, TE continues to do well, right? So let's show them TE here for a second, because not strictly a small cap gapper, one that is respecting trend, whether you're looking at the deeper retracement into the volume weighted average price in and around that $8 psychological support, or the respect that it has at the 10 EMA. So TE, not bad. Should have been executing on this one as well, but, you know, was really kind of focused on the other trades. All right, guys, we're going to pause for a second. We're going to the big desk.
Ford spiking here. F on watch. Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, saying that an announcement is expected from Ford today. As we've mentioned a couple times now, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, U.S. President Donald Trump is scheduled to visit a Ford production facility in Michigan. Then an hour and a half later at 2 p.m., he's going to be delivering some remarks on the economy. But again, with regards to the market and specifically Ford, F on watch. Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, teasing that we're actually going to get an announcement from the company potentially today. Back to you.
Did you hear what China was offering Canada in exchange for removing the 100% tariffs we have on their EVs?
No, what were they offering us?
Well, reduction in tariffs on canola oil. Hey, man, you know, you don't have to be sophisticated to make money, right? Canola oil, low tech, maybe not even that low tech. Maybe farming it and producing it is high tech. I don't know.
I could probably maybe do it.
I don't know. I'm not going to say you can't. I have no idea. But no, but in that tit for tat exchange, because you remember Prime Minister Trudeau, the former prime minister of this country, did throw in 100% tariffs, but widely speculated it was to kind of, you know, be in line with the American 100% tariffs as well.
Yeah.
And obviously the Chinese didn't like that, so they're trying to kind of renegotiate the status quo.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and your boy Carney's headed over there.
Is he?
He's headed over.
That
He's headed to China.
Well, I thought there were some issues that we could clear up here a little bit south of the border, but I figured we may as well go across the pond first and talk.
Well, he needs to clear it up with everybody, because the Prime Minister Trudeau did a very good job on the world relations stage. We were very good. We didn't have any trouble with India.
No.
We didn't have any trouble with China. Of course, there was no issue ever with Russia and any of the other countries.
He was growing at a substantial rate.
Very quickly. Very quickly.
And good thing we have low unemployment levels as well, so just in case anybody was.
All right. I disagree with you, Adam. I don't think Mark Carney is that, but
I don't know, Sharif.
I disagree.
I feel like he's kind of lagging a little bit behind the ball.
I just think that it's good. Look, and I say this to everybody that I talk to about him.
Yeah.
I don't think. Well, I hope that we don't run out of patience with what he's doing, because he's got a big task, a tall order, and that takes time to execute. So, you know, we know how politics is, though, right? It's short attention spans. Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know, Sharif, if we had the patience to sit with the previous as our good friend.
I don't think that there was the same thing whatsoever.
Don't think it's the case? You don't think this is going to be the case? If the guy before him got 10 years, roughly 9 years.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
but things weren't bad. Now things are bad. So people's patience are a lot shorter, right? You know?
Fair enough.
I just think that he's doing the right thing, but it doesn't happen overnight. That's just kind of the way that I see that.
Yeah, he looks like him, man. Someone said Castro Jr., he looks like him. You don't think?
I've seen the pictures, brother. I've seen the pictures. I know exactly what you guys are talking about. But hey, I've got no comment on that. But yeah, anyway, having a good time. Come on, DeLeon, man, you know, why are you trying to lure me into that conversation? I'm not going to talk about that. All right, I'm focusing, though, on XAIR and I'm continuing to watch as this one holds above the previous down trend line and now seems to be finding support in the teens. I've built my position into this one. I don't even mind adding into XAIR, especially if it can get above and hold above 30. That's actually where my next profit taker is, right at that 30 penny level. But we know we've had big sellers in the mid-20s, most notably at 25. We did get a couple of price spikes up close to that 30 where I took prints, but nothing holding as of yet there. So let's pack the patience. Let's see what we get. We won't get upset. Shout out to my man Neil. And we'll report to you guys on how that is all going. IBRX continues to be a good trade, still trading near the high of the day, but it's ALMS. Despite the fact that I'm in the money on this one, I guess maybe I have lofty expectations, which I don't, for the profit takers. A 5 penny spread, by the way, on ALMS. 10 on the bid, 15 on the ask, looking for continuation into 22.39, and then looking for a break maybe into 22.5. So we'll see what ALMS has to offer. Back to XAIR, as I'm seeing that back into the mid-teens with some higher lows. Looking for this one, but worried about Bamboozlement because we saw that before with EVTV yesterday, where I was building a position very similar to this, and then it ended up losing the bid quite aggressively. So there's that seller at 25 again. That 225 seller is basically very, very motivated to kind of get his short position there, and or somebody's offloading a whole bunch of shares at that $0.25. Nonetheless, I'd like the chart pattern that this one's putting in. So on that basis, I'm going to hold this, and then we'll see what we get after that. But for the moment, we're going to have to pause the show for a second. We're going to Adair for happening now, and then Neil has his lesson of the day.
S&P 500 trying to, I guess, continue this push back to the upside. We're very well below these pre-market highs that we made here at 8:30 a.m. when we got CPI prints, the core CPI prints month over month and year over year, both lower than expected. And the economic data theme will continue throughout the rest of the week. Tomorrow, we're actually going to get PPI prints for October and November. So a little bit delayed, but certainly on watch. Also, something else that's continuing from tomorrow that started today, bank earnings. We had JP Morgan this morning. As mentioned, pretty good report, but drop here in the stock, that's for sure. Delta also reporting this morning. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be getting some other banks reporting earnings, including Bank of America, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo. Then another round of bank earnings on Thursday morning. As we know, these banks really kick off the earnings season, but we're not done yet, guys. We're going to talk here about Nvidia, NVDA, because as we know, a little bit of a pop in this one, drop and then pop, as the information reports that China's going to be restricting Nvidia chip purchases to, quote, special circumstances, apparently including R&D at universities potentially. The information not always viewed as the most reliable source for NVDA stories, but either way here, market did react at least briefly. Let's talk about Ford F, because this is very much one that's in the news. We just had a headline on it. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying ahead of Trump's tour of a Ford facility at 12:30 p.m. today that apparently Ford's expected to make an announcement today, potentially on jobs and also gas tracks. So F on watch. You guys know me. I will be watching this whole event and covering it for you anytime we get any info. But we're going to have a lesson with Neil. But until we have a lesson with Neil, first we have to talk about concussions. Thank you to our friends at Origenics, OGEN. Concussions demand fast solutions, and NYSE listed Origenics, or OGEN. They're developing one that's designed to reach the brain quickly and non-invasively. So learn more by scheduling a meeting today. But you know what you don't have to schedule? A lesson. Because Neil's right here to give us that lesson of the day. Neil, it's your turn.
Hit it.
By the power of Grayskull.
And if you want to have the power, just like XAI, I turned to Sharif. He's like, he's going to hit the animation. I'm like, go ahead, do it. I'm adding XAIR to the lesson because I was already doing a tie-in to small cappers. And I always talk about having a plan and having a setup and having an actual trade, which means entry, exit, why you're getting in, where, all that kind of stuff. But the idea behind it, and I was going to talk about SoFi when things start to work as planned, right? Like, first off, actually, I want to start this way. Let's start with one that doesn't work. I always like to do that because I think it's more informative a lot of times. So I was looking this morning for reversal plays off of support levels. One of them was going to be SMR. Doesn't work out. Now, immediately, I got into this one and then trimmed it flat by half just because I didn't really like. I wasn't a huge fan of it, because I really do think it was a little bit early. It was before that 10 o'clock spot. So I trimmed it half, but eventually kind of got back in that same half. It runs the bottom, break underneath the prior bar, which is my entry. I'm going to get out of it every single time. I could have got back in and maybe somehow magically found the bottom, but that's not the thing. The thing is, I'm going to make this play here to look for the retracement to VWAP and maybe into that prior low on a trend break, the same way that I'm going to make that play when I saw more or less the same setup on SoFi. Trend down, hold a prior low, there's your break. It doesn't get to VWAP the first time, and this is where if I liked the long, I had to come up with another plan of action. Pretty simply, well, what did it do on the dip 2 days ago? There's the bottom, reversal, higher low, higher low, higher low, just higher lows all the way up into a parabolic move. So as I said, I'm just going to look for that pattern. If we're not going to hold the low, I'll look for the higher low. It goes to VWAP. Fantastic. This one extended the move pretty easily. So we got our VWAP retracement. And then what's next? Well, what does it do? It goes right into a test of the low of the day again, and then a breakout play. So test of the low of the day, and another trend break. This one follows through in front of VWAP. So I go from a stock that I wasn't even looking at to having a setup and a plan of action. And just to show you how you can start applying these in other places, as I actually just got target, right back into the prior closing price and right back into the pre-market lows, just to give you an idea that you can apply this kind of thing to stocks that you might not look at. So I actually was looking at EVTV, that's the one from yesterday, clean downward trend, holds double bottom and the opening range, breaks the trend line, go long on the trend line break. This is a small capper that I haven't looked at, but because I have an actual plan of action to execute on the stock based on a pattern that I see, maybe you don't see the pattern, you don't trade it. I can jump into it. And you just saw Sharif talk about XAIR, which is going ham, that's that Beyond Air stock. Well, look at what I found. You got yourself your bull, flag, pennant, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter. There's a pretty decent downward trend going into what? A support level. Breaks the trend line, there's your consolidation, and there is your break higher. The thing about having a trade plan or an actual execution strategy, it's not just that it gives you more precise entries where I can definitively look at the trade and say, maybe I'm risking $100 to make 200 or whatever, 1,000 to make 2,500 or 10 to make whatever it is. I'm making an amount that is worth it, as opposed to just kind of buying and hoping that it goes up and then throwing a stop and not really having an idea of what you're risking. If you take a trade, if I take a trade like this, I shouldn't say you, I should say I. If I take a trade like this, I know I'm going to be long between 215 and 225. And I know my stop is going to be right around here at 205, if not 2 even. I now have a structure for my play. I know what it needs to make. Run back into the high. If it was a reversion the other way, probably into the volume weighted average price. And I can judge if it breaks and it's too close to the high, the risk reward might not be good. It's the same way I've not taken some reversions short because it's too tight to VWAP, the target out is not good enough for how much I'm risking. But I can make that judgment because I actually have an execution plan. And it's something that can be applied across stocks that might not seem like they have anything to do with each other. A couple of small caps there. SoFi has done it as well. You can find it on sometimes large cappers. I was actually looking at one on Alibaba, didn't pull the trigger, that's on me. There's the VWAP hold, and once it holds VWAP, 1, 2, hold the trend, make a top, there's your reversion. I didn't take this one, but that's now talking about a big cap Chinese tech stock, where I can also look at the same setup. Because ultimately what you are trying to do in trading is make a profitable trade and then take that plan or that setup and then just try to repeat it. Not me, if you do a day trader, you can do it multiple times in a day, and then day after day, and then week after week, and then month after month. This does require that you have actual setups that you can apply. And it doesn't have to be, like I like to use trend lines, I have for years. So it doesn't have to be that, I'm just using that as an example. Whatever it might be, maybe you only love VWAP bounces, maybe you only love breakouts. But define what your trades are going to be so that it's not just random and ad hoc, and you can define risk, you can have targets, and then that allows you to go in and be confident in your trade. Like when I look at that EVTV, there is nothing for me to get emotional about at all. I got the long at the price I want. I've got the stop. I know where I'm targeting into. I might get a chance to add to this. I have a decision to make if it just starts holding VWAP, but not at that point just yet. And the second I'm in, I know I have spent that money. You know, you have a 335 long. I have spent 15 pennies on this already for every share that I have, because if it breaks a low, I'm out. So now it's just a matter of getting that money back that you have spent on the trade, because I know what I'm going to lose on the trade before anything happens. Before I'm even in the trade, I know what I'm going to lose on the trade if it's wrong. And if you can't answer that, then you might have a bit of a problem. All the traders that usually have issues, that is another thing that they tend to have in common, is they probably couldn't tell you, well, if they couldn't tell you what they're risking on the trade before they get in, or if they can tell you, they far too often end up risking way more than that by changing their plan, moving their stop, just adding shares. Like, you know, same stop but doubling up, moving my stop down and doubling up. So all of a sudden you're risking more than your original plan. So it's always one of two things. I find if you want to be chill and relaxed, develop a plan. Sometimes it's tedious and boring, but an execution strategy is going to go a long way. And because you can apply it across multiple styles and multiple symbols, it then allows you to sort of be in what is moving and be in something that is actually setting up. So good luck, everybody. I really hope that Beyond Air, such an odd name, Beyond Air continues flying. But that's such a, look at that clean. Like the reason I like bringing it up is because EVTV and Beyond Air were very similar setups. You know, one's kind of going, this one is parabolic. But if you have both, if that setup is on your radar, then sometimes you're going to have the bigger one. You don't know in advance which one's going to actually go more when you have that setup. That would be the secret sauce. I have not touched the lunch. I can tell you the paella doesn't look like it came with a lot of chicken. You can see the chicken on top, but like almost everything underneath that is going to be carbs. So we might be a little light on protein here for lunch, Sharif and Joe. Peace.
Thank you very much, Neil. I
really want to
appreciate
be light
that.
on protein now.
No, but I got to thank Sean, though, because literally, I said it this morning, ever since he had that conversation with the driver, and give the credit to the driver. I don't even know what his name is, man. I got to find out this guy's name. Dude. Yeah, because you say one thing to this guy, he takes it right back to them, and then it's immediately fixed.
Like right away.
The banana situation, we talked about that.
What was going on with the nanas?
They stopped coming.
Oh.
And then they started coming again.
Oh.
Lo and behold, after the conversation was had with said individual. But good look. All right, let's cut the crap and let's get right to XAIR, because Bamboozlement Central. Look at the move. Your boy caught the breakout. I'm very happy with this. Positive on it, yada, 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 okay? That's not the point. The point is it rocketed up, and then as quickly as it rocketed up is as quickly as it came right back down. Lo and behold, though, it's holding the area that we had trouble breaking. Who recalls that 25 seller or the selling in and around the mid-20s? Well, I do, because I was involved in it. So we pop all the way into the high of the day. We make 266. I get really close to taking out that high of the day. Took it out at 60. Barely spent any time there, by the way. Drops all the way back down. We stop out for profit because we were in at 18s. So now I'm back in at 27s because I'm seeing the buying stepping in the mid-20s. The only thing is, we're not rocketing up, obviously, in the same way that we were before. XAIR is up 163%. So what I'm looking for here is for a hold at the mid-20s and a move back in to test that $0.50. My first profit taker's 35. It's showing me 34, so we're definitely getting that move up. Not enough, though, to get that print. But look at AL, well, I can't even do it. I got so excited. AL freaking MS into the high of the day. Sorry, Assassino. I know I disappoint you a lot, but this one hopefully won't disappoint you. Money, man.
Good.
There we go into the high of the day. We got, what do we got? We got 12s on this one. It's at 50 pennies. Go ALM freaking S. Go. There it goes again, Joey. It heard me. Into another high of the day. 51s it goes. We're going to wet the beak here too. Show them what you're looking at.
All right, guys. Let me ask you this. If someone handed you $1.25 million to trade, would your process change or just the upside? That's the opportunity Funded Futures Network provides. They're a futures platform that gives traders access to large sim and live funded accounts every day. They've already paid millions to traders around the world with fast same-day and daily payouts. And right now, evaluation accounts are 50% off, buy one, get one free, and no activation fees. You can find the link below or scan the QR code to check it out. Speaking of checking things out, guys, we are in at JPM, 30 cents ITM right now. We're grabbing some things off of the low. My substantial size is at 314. I posted up and I waited for it. I was a little frustrated with myself, so I had this order in before. And I'm like, you know what, let's wait at 314, see if we're going to catch anything around that neck of the woods. And I'm like, all right, let's get a little involved here just in case it does want to rip. But I'm going to keep that bid out there. 314, we caught that fill. And now 315 is going to be our primary target, maybe 315.13s to be exact. So we keep it at a 1-to-1. I'm only going 30 cents a risk, so we're going to get out of there around the 80s or so. And if we happen to hit that, so be it. I'm going to take another couple stabs here on JPM, but I love the consolidation lows. I love potential move off of these levels, and we're down 3.16% here today. Now, it's going to tell us a lot, especially if that support level is broken. It kind of does look like that on the higher time frame, but I'm confident enough that we're going to see the consistent buyer stepping in, and look at the clean flushes on the tape. This is something really telling. The little signs of strength is exactly what I'm looking for. Let's get our quote highlights up there. We're going to have to make it a little bit smaller, so we're at 1,000 shares right now. Let's get that down to 500. Nothing popping up, considering the value of this name is pretty high, and you know your boy has this on his pick. I'm glad that it had reported earnings. Well, I don't know why I'm saying I'm glad, but solid earnings report this morning, and that's why we're going to get involved with it. So JPM, definitely something on my radar. The banks, I haven't really gone through any of the other ones. Let's take a look at them. We'll roll through the XLF to see how it's reacting. Considering JPM is on its move lower, I'm going to expect the exact same thing here in XLF. Now, as for BAC, what are you doing? Selling somewhat aggressively, but there it goes. JPM now up to 314.50s and looking like it wants to bounce a little bit higher. We're at BAC, Goldman Sachs. How are you doing? Not too much. This isn't the most liquid name, but Jose and I in the back were talking about this name getting a potential split. I think as soon as you hit that $1,000 mark, that's when you really start to get into the talks. We've seen it in multiple names, whether it be Tesla, NVDA, Netflix, all getting that split at that $1,000 mark. So keep an eye out on Goldman Sachs. Morgan Stanley, what are you up to? And then we'll take a look at Citigroup before we send it back to our boy Morgan Stanley, finding somewhat of a rebound. You can see on the 5-minute time frame that volume starting to increase and an isolated pivot on both not only the 5-minute candle print, but the volume profile as well. But we just need JPM to start to climb a little bit higher for us there, brother.
All right, man. ALMS keeps making new highs. They're 60. You know, if we're in the 60s, I know I haven't seen you in a minute, Ozan, but if you're there, it'd be nice to hear you. See your little messages. Shout out to my man Ozan. So ALMS, we're posted at 69 now. It's almost up 7% on the day. We just took 60s. We're in at 12s, looking for continuation here on ALMS. Good looking bull flag breakout. Whether or not we get the second bull flag, your guess is as good as mine. We're just gonna try to put the odds on our side, obviously, and take that right back up, showing me 56s now. This one is a little bit spready. So it's got 7 pennies spread currently, 6 pennies now, but manageable, to say the least, manageable. Back into XAIR we go, looking for that 35 print. We're posted at 35. There's a seller here of note at 35 that we can't shake, hence why we're not getting the print. And there's a lot of size posted at 35 there. Back into 35 it goes, and more size coming on the level 2. In fact, not even being taken off, more is coming on. So people are really looking and earmarking this area as a level of resistance, but they just got decimated. Up into 38s we go. What do we have on this one? So we did add, so that's why our cost base has changed. So I initially have 27s, and then I added at 30, so we changed our cost basis just a little bit higher, than 30s. And now looking at 38, looking for that move back into the $0.50. I'm waiting next in the low 40s, showing me 39s now. No continuation though. There's 40 showing up momentarily. Can we get anything above 40? They're selling at every 5 penny level, ironically enough. 35, 40, we saw it at 25. So it looks like maybe the short seller and or the algorithm is, using these 5 penny increments to set up sell orders. Anyway, 40, we can't shake that level, so we'll have to keep an eye here on XAIR. But I feel the trend might be on, where we're kind of getting these higher lows, this rounding effect on XAIR. So unless there's going to be more bamboozlement, we're going to try to ride this one and do okay with it. The one that I've said very little about, and the one that I'm going to flatten out now, so this one will be a small loss for me, IBRX, not really holding up above the 20, and I don't really want to expend mental energy focusing on this when it's doing all but nothing. Back to XAIR we go, still showing me 38s here. So there's a seller at 40, and now we're back down into 38s, and we can't really seem to ascend above that monster sell order. Look at the time in sales. Look at all that blue and red that just came in. So we're going to have to see whether or not the buyers want to help step up and take us back into that $0.50. We've been stuck at 38 here for what feels like a long, long time, with not even too much size posted on any of the gateways. But there is size, but not anything like we saw before. So that's what I'm focusing on, Joey. We're going to do it live on ALMS. We're going to keep our eye on XAIR. I feel like this one might have the best opportunity here to get into that $3 area. And then if that's the case, then we want to participate in that. And there goes 41. That 40 seller just got murked, but no continuation. Back down into 40 we go. But we did take out the 40 seller into 41s again, looking for continuation on this one. 42s, looking for a little bit higher. Come on, bro, let's go. There we go. We get the print at 42s. Very nice. Looking for that move up. There's 48s, Joseph Options. We had posted at 48 too for the exact reason of trying to front run the $0.50 psychological resistance. So there's a seller though at 48. Couldn't shake that seller. Whoa, it's that flash. This XAIR has this tendency to these flash sell orders like we saw off the high of the day at 66. We just flashed down into the 30s. That scared me a little bit there. But right back into the 40s we go. So I'm going to look for the move above the $0.50 here, just trying to pack the patience. My next sell order at 48. What do you got?
Good look. All right, yeah. TLP, yo. Okay, yeah, we got to get out of this JPM. I told you guys I'm going to take a couple stabs at it. We take a little bit larger of a hit on that one. So we get out of JPM as continuing to bleed. OTM, I mean, like 10 or 20 deltas is essentially something that I'd be looking to write. I'm building something that I like. I have my algo on the go, having a lot of fun with that. But there's something to be had in call writing, especially farther out the money contracts. And further expiration dates. There's something I need to figure it out. I don't know how I'm going to, but I will, and I'll obviously present it to you because it's just something that I continuously see, and I display it to you guys a little bit in the morning when we go over some of the options activity from the previous day, but we'll figure that out. JPM breaking that trend line, so it's not looking too good right now, but I have no doubt that it's going to find somewhat of a bottom, and we'll get that bounce in JPM, and I'm going to start to engage once again. So I'm going to pull this up here. We're going to get to the lower time frames and look for those indecision prints. We did have multiple occasions. We were waiting for 15s, right? I didn't want to get out prematurely, so we get out when our stop was telling us to. And then now we're going to look for a potential bottom. Now, if I were to enter right now, I get a better price substantially, and I'll add more size on that opportunity. But as for the call writing, we'll talk to you guys about that momentarily.
PDS Biotechnology, guys, very important. Trading on the Nasdaq as PDSB is transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer. You gotta love that. With initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the U.S. in a few years. To learn more, you need to check them out at www.pdsb or pdsbiotech.com. Check them out, guys. Good look there. All right, I got stopped out of XAIR. I put my stop a little bit too close, but the trend is still on, so I'm gonna get right back into this one. Prior bar low is 27s. We're showing 29s, so let's see if we can kind of just base it on prior bar low. We'll give it to, there we go, and we'll see if we can kind of ride trend back there so that we have that. Let's put a couple of profit takers right around these levels, and as we typically do, we'll choose these levels here. Let's see what we get. PDSB is the one we were just talking about. Also, I have something to mention. EVTV. You little. A clean hold, Joey. This was on me for not noticing this, but I had been burned on this one. This is my biggest loser on the day, this EV crap. EVTV, no, of course, I'm kidding. Held VWAP quite well, and then rockets back up, makes an attempt at the high of the day, which is 402. This candle here, the one I'm pointing at there in the green, that got to 4. Dropping down in 375. I should be more alive to that VWAP hold, but alas, I did not. So we did not participate in that EVTV breakout trade, but looking good here. It's really about whether or not it holds trend, and then we'll discuss that one later. NTLA, by the way, shout out to Fluffy Hippo, holding 12 quite well and trying to make its way back into the 12 mid-teens. IBRX, this is gonna haunt me. You get in, and then get out at the lows. ALMS, those continuing to do really, really well. Back into 22 mid-50s. I'm taking profits next at 69. The high of the day, of course, is 64. So it'll necessitate, I should say, a high day break before I get any sort of print next on ALMS. But looking to ride this one possibly into 23 if we really get the move there. But it's going to be focusing here on XAIR as I'm trying to hold the, trying to ride, I should say, the higher low trend. But we are getting aggressive sell orders on XAIR. So if you're going to trade this, be ready for the flushes because they come and they come pretty dang quick too. And it's kind of hard to react to them unless you've got resting orders there. So XAIR, trade it, but trade it carefully and always with a plan, and just maintain or keep your eye on the trend. Like, see how it's been putting in higher lows ever since the 5-minute candle at 11:30, really kind of unbroken with a couple of breaches, I should say. No, I mean, generally it is putting in higher lows, but you do have wicks that lose trend only to regain them pretty quick. So that's going to have to be part and parcel of your characterization of how XAIR trades. Let's see if we can get some more on this, Joey. What do you got?
All right, good stuff, guys. This is what I'm talking about, just re-engaging when we're supposed to. I mean, there's no forms of indecision, but we do have a support level and a base. One thing that's kind of keeping me cautious on what we have going on here is that the bid is just continuously dropping back down. So we'll keep an eye out on that. When we do get that move back up to 84s, I'm giving this $1 literally because of the value of this stock. So we'll get that. We'll get out at 13s, 313s. If it wants to break down to that level, then so what? We'll take that hit. But right now, I'd love JPM in and around these levels. The daily not correlating, but I just think that we're going to get that bounce, man. We're down substantially here, 3.3%, and JPM just too strong of a name. The downtrend, see, the trend line did break, which is slightly scary. I mean, we waited until yesterday to have those picks, but that's all right. We're not going to complain about that, so I'll take a 3% hit on JPM. What has CrowdStrike been up to today? We'll go through a couple of these names. How's Walmart been performing? Not too bad there on CRWD, and then WMT. Those are my three. Oh, another gap and go here on Walmart. Oh. Who would have guessed it? I think I would have anyway, Sharif. No,
you did guess it.
Yeah, I know I did. No, nice little move there in WMT. Now we just got to focus on what we got going on here. We have a substantial amount of room, and I'm willing to add a little bit more if it does start to work out for us. Once this trend line breaks, then I think we can be off to the races, and then sure enough, we can climb a little bit higher. At 314s, we double it up, and then look for that move into 315s, and maybe even north of these. But first things first, we need to break through this. It's a complete battle right now, so sellers do seem somewhat at control, Sharif, because we are moving lower, so that would make a little bit of sense, obviously. So that's the key thing, right? You're reporting earnings. The numbers were great. A little bit of bad news around, obviously, Donald Trump saying 10% on the credit card rates. Not good for the overall banks, but considering $13 billion last year, $14 billion this year, raising guidance, everything with JPM is aligning, and I'm going to continuously stick with this name until further.
Did you hear who we talked to yesterday?
No, who?
President Trump.
Did he talk to Donald? I find that Jamie's always been.
No, I don't mean Jamie. I meant President Trump. Who he talked to?
Who did he talk to?
He talked to Senator Warren.
Okay.
Elizabeth Warren.
What was
and
she saying?
Two people who I think it's fair to say don't agree on much, but one thing they do agree on is capping credit card rates.
Yeah.
And Senator Warren told President Trump that the Senate would be interested in passing some sort of legislation so that he wouldn't have to go at it from the EO side and then subject himself, obviously, to challenges from the credit card companies.
I think rightfully so. I told you where I stand on that.
I gotta tell you, like, you know, I have my political philosophies, but I love to see the left working with the right. Of course. You know what I mean? With inter-party bipartisanship, because so much partisan politics it gets a little bit annoying
It's
at times,
extremely
right?
annoying, and nothing gets done at the end of the day. Nothing gets done. You always want to find that median, I think. You always want to find that, you want to find that common ground, and things get done much faster, and it's better for
So it's interesting to see that they're actually kind of, trying to work and get something done. Hey, all the power to them. If they can do it, fantastic. We're going to have to pause for a second, Joey. We got to go to the big desk.
Yeah, I want to talk here about UAA, which is on the move. Bryce Harper, who is a baseball outfielder, I had to look this up, has reportedly extended his contract with Under Armour. So again, reports here that baseball outfielder Bryce Harper has extended his contract with Under Armour. As far as I can tell, this is not confirmed as of yet, though. Back to you.
You like B-Hop?
I don't mind him, but I mean, don't forget, Steph Curry just sold all his Under Armour shares.
Yeah.
So I don't think Bryce Harper's going to be a needle mover for me.
Baseball. Yeah, that's fair. I'm just talking about him as a player.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't think the stats correctly, but he's never performed really well in the playoffs.
In the playoffs,
or his team. And Neil would know a lot.
Well, Neil's going to know everything about that, but
has he even? Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, he went to plenty of playoffs with the Phillies. But, I'm just keeping an eye here on egg. Go XAR, you XAIR, you little you. But here we go. We're doing it live again on this one. Just took the first print after the ad, looking for continuation into local area highs. Look. Ever since we put in that 266 high, it's been a symphony of lower highs, but it also has been higher lows. So we have a compression pattern forming, and the higher lows and the closing prints most of the time have found support at the 10. So it's not like exactly like we're super in the money or anything like that, but I am looking for continuation on this and a move into the $0.50, and I've already put my resting orders out there as such. Just want to mention one new one here that was brought to my attention by TT Mass. Shout out to TT Mass. JDZ, for my American friends out there, I would say Z typically, but ZG. Look, Bamboozler in chief, it's got a lot of range per candle, but you get the breakout there on okay volume, right at 1135. It is putting in higher lows, 125 high, dipping down now into 107. It looked a lot better when I put this on TT Mass. It's losing the bit quite quickly here. Let's see what it does at the dollar. Otherwise, I'm not going to have anything to do with this one. If it loses the dollar, it's already below VWAP, which is a breach of my rule. Up 34% and change, though, so it's not that bad of a looker. If it can kind of regain its footing, continue to put in some higher lows, I could work my way into this one, but for the moment, I'm going to have to steer clear. What I will work my way back into here is IBRX, which is showing me an entirely different tune. So we're going to go back into this one here at 87s we get. I'm going to look for a move into 3, man. IBRX looks good. It did bamboozle me through a breach of the 20 EMA on the 5, moving down in 281, so I had to get stopped out. But if it continues to kind of do the higher low symphony thing that it's doing at the moment, then we'll hopefully get some prints on this one. We're going to pause for a second. We're going, are we? Go XAIR into the 40s we go. Looking for a move now into $5. Keep your eye out on this one, up 170%. Adira.
I want to just remind you guys here, Ford on watch. Now, it looks like this meeting hasn't started yet. I have multiple streams open. None of them are live yet. But again, at or around now, U.S. President Donald Trump is set to tour a Ford production facility. So keep an eye on F here, guys. Once the streams go live, once Trump makes his appearance, I will definitely let you all know. Either way, keep an eye on the stock. Back to you.
Remember Biden when he went to the Ford plant with Farley, and Farley put him in the front of the F-150 Lightning? You remember that?
No.
He's like, this is the future of EVs. They canceled the son of a, They canceled the F-150 Lightning. You know this, right?
Yeah. Remember when?
So funny.
Remember when Trudeau went to the plant in Oshawa?
Oh God.
Bro, the guy, he's like, hey man, the one worker's like, yeah, nothing's working for us. I don't know what you're gonna do. He's like, you just shrug your shoulders. He's like, yeah, well that's too bad for you, which is crazy.
Sorry, Joey, I gotta
go ahead, man.
Go ALMS, go into the high of the day. It goes again, 75s, 2275 ALMS. We're setting up next at 88s. Let's see if this one can move into the $23 area. It's a clean, a beautiful, a very, very nice hold off the 10 EMA, and it hasn't breached the 10 EMA once since reclaiming it, I want to say, at around 1040, at least on my 5-minute chart anyway. So ALMS, not a big, but a nice, very clean pattern. We're going back to the big desk.
We did get a little bit of a move in the market here, as you guys can see. I'm not sure if this is why, but it is worth noting here. USA Today reporting that the U.S. could take action on Greenland in weeks or months. So again, USA Today reporting potential U.S. action on Greenland. We did get, again, as I mentioned, a little bit of a spike here. I'm not seeing anything else yet, so just wanted to keep you posted. I am actively monitoring the situation. Back to you.
Yeah, JPM not working for us here, guys. I don't think I'm going to take any more attempts on this one. So we went small here, and we got a nice little bounce. We were ITM, and then we add a little bit more at these lows. I think this is it. Even though the volume is starting to correlate, and you might find somewhat of a move higher, it's just the daily, the price action is just too weak. So I'm going against the trend on this one, and we're trying to catch a falling knife here. You're down 3.5% in JP Morgan. It looks like it wants to bleed. So we're going to avoid this. We'll find something else to trade here momentarily. Intel putting in a new high of the day. There's a missed opportunity right here. That can get slightly frustrating, but that's all right. We'll find something else. And with that being said, another indecision print and another volatility spike on the TQQQs. I think this is going to be a good opportunity to take advantage of. So JPM bouncing, blowing through multiple signals. This wasn't the bottom. We thought we had a base at 314s. Starts to come in a little bit more, but the TQQQs is something that I'm slightly attracted to, Sharif. So I'm going to get involved with this here.
You should ask it out, man. I mean, you're slightly attracted, my boy. My
Just
bad.
because you're attracted doesn't mean you need to.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a good point. It is 2026, so yeah. Keeping on XAIR. Got a print there in the mid 40s, looking for now. I'm front running the $0.50. I'm waiting at 48s, and then I'm waiting at 55s. But this has been a clean hold of the 10 EMA for the most part here on XAIR. Let's see if it continues in this way. Oh boy, IBRX. You keep disappointing me, IBRX. Every time I think you've changed your tune, you're going to start putting in higher lows and curl. You put in a topping tail candle. I mean, what are you doing, IBRX? Where are we in here at, Joey? We're what penny out of the money, so I don't want to complain too much, but we'll keep an eye out on that. ALMS continues to dilly-dally here in the 60s, 77 high, looking for the print at 88s. Nothing doing on that, though. And then TE, man. I mean, I've said all but nothing on TE. Let's load this bad boy up. Is it on? No, it's not. It's on the New York. Yeah, New York. TE, man, into the high of the day, 850 it goes, and clean holds of trend. Higher lows, generally holding the 10 EMA. Seems like the money fills are between the 10 and the 20. Those are wicks only, though. They don't close or open at those levels. So TE could be another one, not strictly a small cap gapper, but hey, up 17.5%. Who's going to complain about that? So those are the ones I've got on at the moment. And then I'll be remiss if I didn't mention EVTV. I didn't do well on this one today. It's my biggest loser on the day, but it is trading decently now. It attempted to break through 4. It failed, so it's still below the 402 high. It had a 3-candle pullback on the 5, as you can kind of see over here on EVTV, but now it's finding itself at the 10 EMA and about to make a higher high relative to the prior candle. Prior bar high, come on, stop embarrassing me, man. Looks like 374, give or take. Here's 73, so we're about to take out prior bar high, which could be a nice trend change on this one and an attempt for a breach of 4. I've just, I've got PSTD from this one. I really shouldn't, but the point is PTSD. I heard Ram in the back. Quick to correct me. Sorry, Rabin. But yeah, I glitched there for a second. No, in any event, keeping an eye out on this one. Yeah, look, it just breached prior bar high, and it's about to breach prior bar low now, so not a good look there. Great Ratcliffe also coming fire in the chat. All right, guys, you got me. I screwed up, but we're going to keep an eye on these bad boys here. If any new small cap gappers, by the way, guys, keep them coming in the chat. Some of the ones that we're trading right now were called out by you, so I do appreciate that. Joey.
All right, sorry, just jotting some down here momentarily. All right, the TQQQs, guys, let's sit on our hands here and be a little bit more patient and wait for some quality entries. We took a couple attempts on JPM. RCAT is going to be my best performer here on the intraday session, so we'll pull that back up and see what we got going on. There was a nice indecision print at the highs on the Nasdaq. It's the blue ocean. So yeah, RCAT, oh, okay, wow. All right, good out there on RCAT as it continues to climb up 9% here on the day. A bottom finds its base at 1180s, 1170s, and then continues to climb a little bit higher around 13 bucks or so. So a nice move in RCAT right there, but a nice short as well too. So
holy, it recovered.
Yeah, what a monster recovery. Yeah, this is what I'm talking
Piece
about.
of crap. I took it off the side chart.
Oh no, there. Yeah, I mean there it is, man. Not too bad of a look whatsoever. Now JPM, we're gonna remove this. We'll head back over to SLV. We want to find signs of strength. It's kind of choppy today, but again, you're up another 4% or so, just adding to the yearly gain. So not too bad of a look on SLV. INTC not doing too much. I don't want to run through the scans and be like, oh, I found this stock and just that's not necessarily my style. We want to focus on what we have going on, read what the price action's up to, and then sure enough, try to find a potential. Why? What do you got going on? Oh wow, still going?
Yeah, it's continuing to hold trend. I don't want to say it's like rocketing or anything like that, but it's holding trend.
Nice steady trend. Yeah, you don't want to fight that right now. Like I did kind of in JPM. You learned that lesson really quick as I put in a new low. We'll pull that up one more time. Not finding a base just yet, but a nice curl over pattern, and you can see the downtrend is still fully intact here. Until that breaks, you get a 5-minute print above this on the backside of that channel. Sure enough, maybe you get somewhat of a rebound, but now you're down 3.5% or so in JP Morgan and Company. Google hovering around those highs there, Sharif, so not too bad of a look. Is this a new all-time high on Google? Oh yeah, big time, 339.74.
Google is a rocket, bro.
But listen,
unreal.
Listen. This thing is insane, right? This is all great. It's all fun and games, but this is what happens right after, right? So take your profit while you can, and this is going to be the prime example in which I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So Microsoft, for how long are we talking about?
Good call on that.
You know what I mean? Like how long are we talking about? It's all fun. Yeah, we're off to the races. Why is our screen tilted a little bit there? But anyway,
I gotta say one thing though.
What's that, brother?
I like Microsoft, respect the hell out of Microsoft, but I do
I don't think they're Google.
I'm not. Oh well, they're clearly not. But what I mean to say is, I think Google's got more hands in more cookie jars, especially trending cookie jars, than Softy does.
I 100% agree with you. That's annoying me. But I'm going to say one thing. You can have your hand in every single cookie jar. I don't care who you are, Sharif. I don't think like that price action we know, and from what I've established, that's not going to be sustainable. It's going to mean revert. Right? Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be sustainable. So have fun, enjoy it, continue with the price action, but also be prepared to take a little bit of profit.
Be prepared. All right. XAIR just breached through 50 momentarily there. It got into 55s. I'm actually waiting at 57s. And then we're going to look for the high of the day break, which is 66s. So XAIR having trouble at the $0.5. This could be resistance. We know what the $0.5 means. It's psychological resistance, despite the fact that wicked above it. 54s now showing up, not quite at 55s yet. 55s, there is there size at 55. Not posted, there isn't. I mean, there is 57. Boom, into the high. We take out that print there. Now we're setting up at 16. No, we're not. We're going to set up at 77s. So we're looking for XAIR to take out 66s. That's the high of the day. It's up 194%. Let's see if this one can really move and get into $3, okay? So we actually took a better beak wetter than we did here initially on the initial breakout. So this is not a bad beak wetter, but now we're going to look for a little bit more lofty of a price at 88s. Let's see what this one has to offer. And then go, ALMF, freaking S, go. Up into the high of the day again, 22.90. We've got, we finished our shares on ALMS? Yeah, we did. That's okay. So we're done this trade, but we'll look to get back in on a pull back into, I want to say 22.5. That's where the consolidation zone was. In addition, that's where the 10 EMA on the 5 is. So ALMS continues to print quite well here, and it feels like it might just be a matter of time until we see 23. We're only 10 pennies away if you're basing it on the high of the day. All right, so let's move back now to see what XAIR is doing. Well, we got a topping tail candle here, which doesn't look that good. Rejecting at 60, now dropping back into 53. What's the move? Well, here are the levels. Whoa. Look at that aggressive sell order coming back down into the 40s. So the 10 EMA on the 5 is the mid to high 30s. This current candle low has a low of 42. Back into 50s it goes. Feels like maybe some profit taking above that 50 penny area here on XAIR. But I got to say, this one does feel like the best of the bunch in terms of small cap gappers. Anyway, and then maybe second, I would give to EVTV, despite it being my biggest loser on the day. And the reason I say that is it's because it keeps finding support at the 10 EMA on the 5, despite breaching it momentarily. Look how quickly it is moving above. But what I would say is, look for a trend change. So you have an uninterrupted red candle setup right now, ever since that big green candle which touched 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're getting a bit of a bottoming tail candle here, which means your buyers are stepping in front of the half dollar. Wait for confirmation. At least it's my style to wait for confirmation and wait to see if we can get above prior bar high, whatever prior bar is relative. Currently, prior bar high will take you to 74, right? So we're not quite there yet. We're only showing 63. So by definition, you're going to have to give up a little bit of a better price by waiting for confirmation, but that's always the case. We're going to pause for a second, guys. We're going to go to Adara at the big desk.
I still don't have any start here for this forward meeting. We're supposed to get this forward tour starting right now. I'm not seeing anything yet. I do want to mention here, though, that we do have more commentary from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt with regards to some of Trump's conversation later today. At 2 p.m., he is scheduled to make a speech on the economy in Detroit, separate from that Detroit forward tour. Apparently, he'll be speaking about Iran potentially and also likely to focus on the economy overall. Back to you.
Hear what Caroline Leavitt said yesterday about the Iran issue? Not vouching for what she's saying, but this is what she said. She said the Iranians are saying something publicly to the media and through statements, and then saying something entirely differently through back channel contacts with the administration. So it looks like they're interested in negotiating or something like that. And apparently, according to her, she said President Trump wants to explore that. So I'd love to see some peace finally, but obviously I think there's a lot of people who also want their freedom. So we'll have to see how that all works out, Joey. What do you got, my man?
Yeah, I'm just looking here across the board, eyes on silver to see if we can get somewhat of a bounce. It's starting to sell aggressively, so we're going to wait for a couple of 5-minute candles to print here. But I like what we're starting to see. Buyers start to step in. We got that curl over. This 1-minute print. I'm on the 3-minute. Oh, okay. Let's get that over to the 1-minute here and see what we got going on. So this one's not holding up relatively well. Once you give up the majority of that wick, you want to get out of it and then be patient enough. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So maybe you run into 79.30s here on SLV, and then we find somewhat of a bounce. We'll start with the lower time frames to see if everything, but we want to go with the flow. We don't really necessarily want to go against us or anything along those lines. So be patient, wait for those quality setups to get involved, and then sure enough, see if you can be on the right side of the V. Now, RCAT continuing to climb 10% here, Sharif, and Intel.
What a move back from RCAT, bro. I mean, I dismissed it because you took that bad boy short. I was like, okay, this one's done. It broke VWAP. It's done. Forget it. It's at the low of the day.
Yeah, I was looking at the daily too. So, I mean, interesting stuff there on RCAT, man. A big time move. But look how volatile it is. A penny spread. That's not too bad, but it just like fluctuates a couple percentage points like it's no tomorrow. Yeah, Adara, what do you have for us?
Keep an eye on this smaller cap here, CCCX. This is a special acquisition company called Churchill Capital Corp, but the company they're partnering with here is called Inflection. Well, I guess Inflection just announced here on LinkedIn they're going to be at a WebTech event tomorrow and Thursday, and apparently they're going to be at the Dell booth. So basically this announcement here from the company that CCCX is merging with on LinkedIn, it heavily implies a partnership between this company and Dell. Back to you.
I was just yelling to the Katina man and to you, Joey. Intel, 8% trade. Unbelievable. I've been handed the sticky note, and first entry on the sticky note reads as follows. 45 long, upgraded at KeyBank Capital to overweight, citing on what does that mean, Katina man there? Who knows, customer, price target $60. Trade the momentum here. Shout out to the Katina man and shout out to the sticky note. And if you're not getting the sticky note, you need to be following Sean on X. You need to be in the chat because he's posting that in the chat every morning as well. If you're not getting the sticky note, you're not getting the ideas. It's really that simple. So make sure you're joining us in the chat. Make sure you're voting. And yeah, hang out with us because you know we're live from 8 a.m. now. So we're doing it live literally earlier.
Every day.
Sorry, I caught you writing there, Joey.
Yeah, that's all right.
But here's the deal. While you're writing, XAIR decided to drop back into the 10 EMA. It is currently holding said 10 EMA. The issue is, though, it was preceded by a topping tail candle. Is that You know, does that change things? I'm going to continue to watch to see if it holds this higher low kind of situation where it finds the 10 EMA as support. If it does, I want to get some more shares here on XAIR. We're still holding a couple, and I've got a very lofty expectation of 277 that will necessitate a high of day break. But as I tell you about that, let me tell you about this. EVTV is him right now. Now you're going to have to trade this carefully because look what it just did. Ooh. Holds a 10 EMA, rockets up from 365 to 424. That is now the high of the day on EVTV. But look at quickly as it made it up into 424, it's back down now into 388. So be careful with this one. It has a tendency to almost mean revert immediately as people take profits. It's up 56%. But I got to tell you, this is a multi-day runner. So the fact that it is a multi-day runner should change your approach to it a little bit. It's showing you the fact that it's not reverting right back into the low same day like so many of these small cap gappers do when they have multi-day runs. Usually that gives them a bit more, you know, I don't want to say stability, but there is a better trade to be had, I think, on those ones. So keep your eye on that. But for now, we're going to send it to Joey.
All right, guys, savvy Canadian traders looking to boost. Why does it do that sometimes?
You want me to talk to it?
It just goes away. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3x daily leverage ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging, folks. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at Beta Pro before investing. Silver starting to sell aggressively here, Sharif.
No way.
So yeah, I mean, surprise, surprise, isn't that? Still positive 3% here, but you are starting to breach the volume weighted average price. You have already 79.66 is what we're currently trading at. And the volume, this is really important to take a look at, guys. Look at the lower time frames. Really starting to increase and find its mode here and just stick within that specific range. So not too bad of a look on SLV if you are short, but a difficult name to short in my opinion, considering what we've seen over the past couple of months in the price action. SLV is still up 3%. Now IBIT hovering around the highs, not too far off of that, about a quarter or so. Same thing here with INTC, about 30 cents off of that previous pivot high. And then we have the TQQQs starting to get a little bit of a rebound, holding up the volume weighted average price relatively well. If there's anything specific that you guys want to go over, I want to show a quick example of some writings here, something that I'm also going to be working on. We're going to go further dated. I'm just going to pick a common name. We'll go NVDA or something along those lines. We're going to go a year out, and we're going to take a look at the longer dated contracts and what we can do for potential writings. So we'll go to August, right? That's going to give us plenty of time and plenty of days. And then we're going to go extremely out of the money. Someone asked me, hey, Joe, like how out of the money are we thinking on these specific contracts? Well, we can use our deltas as a percentage metric. Right now, this one's looking like it's going to expire OTM approximately 60%, a little bit less than that, 54 to be exact. But let's pull this up because you're going to get filled on the bid, and we're going to go to the higher time frame to see if it's even worth it. You're going to be collecting $1,200. So let's document this actually. So I'm going to write it down. I'm going to write it down right now for you guys. So you'll collect $12.24 right now, NVDA. This is going to be the July 17th expiration cycle, 17th. And then we're going to collect $12.24. Let's see how this contract is, because I have the date as well. This is going to be the 13th that we're documenting this. And we'll come back to this maybe in a month or so, or when I get back. I'll be back by the next week. But this is the 4-hour chart. You can see how illiquid it is and where we peaked around $16. You've already had a 30% decrease in this contract's value. I think that's going to continue to grow. So what we'll do is we'll monitor it. We'll document to see what the decay and the theta decay effects have on this specific cycle to see if it's even worth selling it. But right now you're collecting $1,200. I went on previous names where you would collect 90% of the premium in the span of a couple months, amounting to substantial returns. And that's kind of what we're looking for right now, Sharif. So NVDA, July 26, 2020 call. Let's see if this contract really starts to lose its value.
EVTV is just rocketing up. Another high a day, 456, 80%. This one had triple digits yesterday, and it might see triple digits again today. We're 80%. We need another 20 to do that. So keep your eye out on this one. 462 high. We're going to have to ride trend, but we'll get to that one in a minute. Roblox, Jam Lockheed was telling me to look at. So here, Joey, I want to show you something. I think that this is going to interest you as well. One sec, let me throw in the ticker, RBLX. Take a look at this. First of all, crazy rounded bottom, right? And you make this double top that's ugly as hell. Look at this though. You come back in and you test the previous area crest, and now you've got a great looking green candle on the day at a very, very clean technical level. So that's RBLX on the daily. On the 5, it looks quite good as well. Look at these higher lows, a whole bunch of higher highs, clean hold off 83, and now it's on the precipice of taking out 84. But do you know what I learned about Roblox?
What's that, brother?
Fabian, you're going to like this as well.
The game itself, not the
Well,
stock.
it has many different games within the system, like Roblox.
Yeah, but the Roblox, okay, yeah, I know nothing. But you're talking about
let's
the
call it
actual
the system.
Yeah, the system.
So listen to this. So kids go on, and there's a lot of kids go on Roblox, right?
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was a lot of vigilantes would go on Roblox to try to catch child predators.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you heard about this, Fabian? Okay, listen to this. So they tried, so a lot of vigilantes were setting up kind of accounts. I don't know if they were pretending to be children. I'm not really sure how they were doing it, but they were like Roblox vigilantes. And their ideal was to try to catch people who were trying to lure children.
Yeah.
And you know what Roblox did to those guys?
What did they do?
They sent all those Roblox vigilantes cease and desist letters. And they basically kicked them off the platform.
No way.
Yeah, and they made a case for why they were doing that, but I'm just telling you optically, right?
Like, why would you do that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. From the optics. Now, I don't know exactly. I didn't go in a deep dive into the reasons why they booted all those guys off. I'd love to hear if anybody knows more details about the story in the chat. Tag me. Let me know exactly what the reason was.
Bloxbucks or something like that?
I think there is, yeah.
Robux.
Yeah, Robux. We got to pause for a second, Joey, because we got to send it to the big desk.
Couple different stories to let you guys know about here. For one, unfortunately, this Ford thing has not begun. Trump has not yet started touring Ford. Again, I will keep you all posted. I want to talk right now here about META because USA Rail Terminal is apparently opening a Monroe, Louisiana rail hub to support Meta's AI data center project. The stock does not seem to care. The other thing I want to mention here too is going to be in that MasterCard, Visa credit card space. Actually looks like a breakout here for MA on the chart, but again, it is worth noting, it looks like senators are reintroducing the Trump-backed Credit Card Competition Act. So keep an eye on these names. And last but not least, keep an eye on United Health and these health insurance plays. We have comments from Senator Bernie Moreno suggesting that the ACA negotiators are targeting a deal by the end of the month. Now, if we don't get that deal by the end of the month, that's when it becomes a bit dicey with regards to another government shutdown. Let's take a look also with regards to that rail story. It looks like CP and CSX could be moving on this. Neither really moving here. Again, CP kind of tried to move, but again, the story here with Meta report suggesting that USA Rail Terminals opening a rail terminal in Monroe, Louisiana to support Meta's AI data center project. That's the news. Back to you.
Yeah, I was just talking to the Katina man off camera there, and he was letting me know his kid let him know that a while back. It was like at $120, and his kid was like, Dad, you know, and Katina man was invested in it at the time. He's like, you got to get the hell out of this thing because it's not a good look. And well, we saw what happened. I just showed you guys the daily charts holding at 70. But I think it like just from a technical sense, right? I'm not talking about the fundamentals of the company. I'm just saying chart-wise, it looks good. I mean, it looks good because it's holding off a key area crest, a previous area of resistance. Instead of just me talking about it, let me just show you exactly. I've got the chart up here. So this is what I was thinking. RBLX, is this the daily? Yeah, there we go. So previous area crest. I can go to the weekly on this. Actually, it looks a little bit easier to see on the weekly. There it is. There's the double top in and around 150. And there is the area crest, which previously was all-time highs, or was it? No, sorry, excuse me. This was the week of February, the first week of February of last year. Got into about 75. Then look at this monstrous drop from 152 all the way down to 71.90, and then you're getting a really, really good-looking green candle here. If it closes this way, we don't know, right? But it was like bleeding its own blood for a while. And now it's finding support at a key area of technical support, formerly resistance. This is what I mean on Robux. This is the weekly, by the way, guys. I just I felt it was a little bit easier to see. But I want to send it to Joe. But EVTV is insane. It looks like it's putting in a bit of a bull flag here, 462 high, showing 439, 440 now. This could be another continuation play into 5, as well as XAIR. I stopped out of that one for, well, we didn't break even because we were in at 230. We got out at 240, but here it is again, clean, hold off the 20, and this current candle has a higher low and a higher high relative to the prior 5-minute candle. So, you know, that higher low, generally that upward channel that you're drawing there from the candle at 11:30, looking real good. So XAIR, EVTV, still in play in the world of small cap gappers if you're looking for something midday.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, the momentum to the downside on SLV really continuing to pick up here, guys. Watch out for this one. Just be cautious, and same with the Nasdaq. We were talking about this support level holding up and acting as potential resistance. Seems to be the case. You have that additional zone a little bit higher. So that's going to be that 9 o'clock time frame. You have the pre-market, and then out of the opening drive, you get a little bit of a move. But then you come right into that zone, start to form some indecision prints, and then boom, straight to the downside. And SLV giving up a lot of its move here. I mean, at what point can we say that it's overdone? I think we're getting to that point, but I thought the exact same thing with GLD, and that wasn't the case. So you start to fill a little bit of this gap, go with the flow on this. If the indecision prints do display themselves, then you can get a little bit of a bounce look for 10, 20 cents, and get at a dodge. Bitcoin holding up relatively decently at 52.79. Maybe you get another test of this previous $53 level, and then you can make that move up to 53.20. That could be something you can look forward to, or even if it sets up, display itself, and then sure enough, the market looks like it wants to curl over here, Sharif.
Okay.
So not too good of a look in the large cap world, that's for sure. Small caps live in their own universe, and they do their own thing. They can, obviously, you get the volatility spikes and the nice momentum in the middle of the day, etc. Unless we get a catalyst, I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case here. We've already had a couple of them step into the market, so be patient, sit on your hands a little bit more, and wait for that high quality setup. But we're going to go over a couple of names here. JPM still bleeding its own blood. Yes, it is, unfortunately. Now at 312. We're probably down a little bit closer to 4%.
Yo, your boy CRM's getting clipped.
Well, they don't like, well, I mean, it's been
6%?
getting clipped. It's been getting clipped, brother. They don't like.
Why is it 6%?
They don't like our boy Mark. They don't like Mark.
Who doesn't like Mark, bro?
I know, man. How do you not like Mark?
I like him, man. You see, remember he was at, what was it, that conference that they have?
Agent Force.
No, that's not what
I know. I'm saying.
Yeah, Agent Force. No, it was some conference in Europe last year. It's in the winter. Anyway.
Oh, isn't Davos coming up?
Davos, thank you. Yeah, he showed up with like a Gucci vest that's at least a few $1,000. It was too much.
Look at your stock.
And it was the Gucci, what's it called, canvas as well.
The world.
Hey, I'm hating.
Forum's coming up soon, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We all know how much that's loved. But
I don't know why. I like it. You don't
World Economic Forum?
Yeah. You don't like it?
I'm agnostic.
Is it the PJs there that all the fuel and the chemtrails?
Hold on. Oh, you heard about those? Heard about those?
Buddy, I had this one guy I played hockey with. He wouldn't shut up about the chemtrails. Like every play, yeah. It's like, dude.
No, but isn't there seeding though? Doesn't Dubai do that? Like, don't they go in and they add moisture into the environment? They do. I'm pretty sure they seed.
I haven't realized. I live in my own little bubble. I don't.
Nah, they do
things
it.
that I have no control over. I try not to worry.
Cloud seedings, exactly. Might be the writer. Yeah. All right, let's just go into the news. It's 1:01, Joey, and we got a whole bunch of headlines to get to. So let me just cancel all my orders so nothing triggers. He does make a lot of money, Sean. I'm not hating on him. I was more like jealous of that Gucci vest that he had. I want to pull that up before we start doing the news. I need to see it again. Mark Benioff Gucci vest. Where is it at? Let's go, Google. Mark Benioff. There we go. Gucci vest. Oops. Let's see it. Come on, Mark. Where's it at? Images. Oh, it was at the World Economic Forum. No, it was at Davos last year. Yeah, okay, maybe we'll put Davos. Let's see if it comes up. Davos, there it is. It was Davos 2025. There it is. Isn't this the one? Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. There it is. Oh, that's a video. We're going to get in trouble. Yeah, but there it is.
I like it.
Him and his big-ass Gucci vest there. I like it.
Has a
I'm not
hood
going
on
to
it,
lie. It's
too.
got a hoodie.
Can we zoom in on that?
I'm just worried that if I open image in new tab.
five.
Enhance. There he is. You see the G's?
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Benny off there. I'll never
man.
forget that.
Gotta stay warm.
He's got to stay warm, of course. $500 million in dividends the Castina man says he made. That's a ridiculous amount of money. Oh, he meant Zuck. Okay, gotcha. I got you. All right.
Oh, you thought we were talking about Mark Zuck? No.
No. We're talking about the Bensters. Benny off. All right, let's get down to business here. Let's talk about Apple partnering. Is it this good, Assassino? This size is good like that? Okay, no worries. Let's start with talking about Apple partnering with the monster Google to power their next-gen AI N series. So Apple announced a multi-year partnership with Google to power the future of their AI features. That includes, of course, the major upgrades to Siri expected later this year. Widely speculated it should be about March, but you never really know with Apple. The deal will leverage Gemini, Google's AI model, as well as Google's cloud infrastructure. So it's going to be a bit of both. But Apple really wanted to emphasize that the AI models will still run on device and through Apple's private cloud compute. The whole thing here is to kind of try to assuage fears that, your privacy will be at risk because you're going to be sending, sensitive queries or whatever to Google's cloud systems. Apple saying no, it's going to be on-device small language models, and when it's going to go off-device, it's going to be on Apple systems. So rest assured. I'm saying that facetiously, of course. Apple stated that Google's technology offered, quote, the most capable foundation after they did an extensive evaluations of competitors' LLMs. For Google, the deal does reinforce the trust and the respect, I guess, that people are starting to get for Gemini after, a very, very weak start. We all remember what happened when you asked them to show certain images and, for months and months and months, it refused to summarize any article that I put in with President Trump's name, which is kind of crazy. And that's obviously no longer the case. Bloomberg previously reported Apple could pay roughly about $1 billion annually for that AI service though the financial terms were not disclosed by either side. Google already pays Apple billions of dollars, likely about $20 billion a year to remain the default search on iOS. And Apple confirmed it is not changing its existing OpenAI ChatGPT integration for advanced queries, though longer-term overlap remains unclear. Now, as I was telling Sean this morning, I don't even ask Siri questions. I say, hey, the name, check with ChatGPT, and then I put in my search so that it doesn't try to search the web for me and give me stupid answers. Before we get Joey's take on this, we're going to pause for a second. We're going to Adair at the big desk.
Keep an eye on oil here. USO popping. Could be here in comments from U.S. President Donald Trump. Now, again, this Ford event has not yet started, but he is still talking to reporters here. He said with regards to Iran, it's, quote, a good idea if Americans evacuate the country. So again, Trump encouraging evacuation from Iran, geopolitical tensions rising, and a bit of a pop here in USO. We also did get the 30-year bond auction high yield coming in at 4.825%. Back to you. Do
you have a lot of Persian friends?
No, I can't say that I do.
I've got a lot.
Do you?
And do you see the videos of Richmond Hill over the weekend?
No, what were they doing? Were they skirting in their car? Were they car meter?
There was at least a few 100,000 of them in the street.
What were they doing?
Yeah, it was like someone flew a drone over. Yeah. They were on a street, obviously, and they were protesting.
Oh, okay.
Someone flew a drone. It took the drone, I think, several minutes to go from one
in Richmond Hill.
Yeah, well, that's where majority of them live. I know that's where you live as well. Yeah, but yeah, so they feel very strongly about this, and needless to say, obviously, the ones that are here for a reason and feel even more strongly.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's just how the narrative is. No,
Apple, yeah.
Yeah, as for Apple and Google, I think with Google's previous antitrust and the judge ruling in their favor, this just opened the floodgates for these two names to continue their partnership. Right. And we're seeing that start to work out here. We were waiting for something with the Apple Intelligence, whether it be ChatGPT. You start to see that slowly integrated into Siri and everything along those lines. But now I think that's going to be thrown out the window, and we're going to see Gemini really start to take over the Apple device, which I think would be pretty cool.
I wouldn't mind that at all.
No, I wouldn't
mind that at all.
I'm curious, what does that mean for Google's devices, right? So it's like, why am I going to buy a Google phone when I can just essentially buy an iPhone now and then have Gemini interpreted into what Apple's doing?
And that leads to more speculation. Does Google hold back some features that they necessarily would put on their own device, like on the Pixel, and not allow it on the iPhone?
And we also know that Google's paying Apple a pretty penny in the service revenue, obviously, to be the primary search engine. So I wonder what they're going to do with that deal. It's like, hey, we're gonna have Gemini in there. Are they going to continue to pay them more, or is Apple going to pay them?
Well, let's see if Google renegotiates. It's widely speculated to be about $20 billion, and if you believe the report here, it says it was about $1 billion Apple will be paying Google. So it's like, all right, so just write me a check for 19 then.
Yeah.
You know, I'm obviously dumbing it down, but
what is that going to do for Google? I mean, we've seen somewhat of an uptick in the cycle with the iPhone 17. Now, when is this going to be actually integrated into the new iPhone? I think that's going to be big and might even drive more iPhone sales.
Speculation is that it's going to be around March time, but again, with Apple, you never really know. Oh no, in support of, Gary. They're not protesting what's happening. They're in support of what's happening. I should have clarified that. Let's go on to Microsoft. Interesting take yesterday from President Trump. He said Microsoft will announce changes aimed at preventing higher electricity bills for Americans as AI-driven data centers construction accelerates. Trump framed the move as part of a broader effort to shield consumers from the rising cost of electricity ahead of the midterm elections, of course. We know, and he said, Americans should not, quote, pick up the tab for the massive power consumption required by the hyperscale data centers. We know they're trying to bring more nuclear power plants online specifically for that purpose. Microsoft is rapidly, as we know, expanding its data center footprint to support the surging AI demand. A trend that's, basically followed by all big tech. They're basically all doing that. Microsoft also publicly acknowledged that it has received many different local concerns around power usage and pricing, and they're pledging to manage electricity demands responsibly. Just to give you some data here, U.S. electricity prices were up roughly, and varies by geography, 6% year over year. That is as of August. The data is as of August, with sharper scrutiny in regions hosting the large data centers cluster. We've seen this with, I think, Memphis and some other areas there. I also think in the Virginias, if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of data centers out there. And there's rising power costs. It's become a politically sensitive issue. President Trump suggested additional announcements are coming, hinting that other tech companies may be pressured into similar commitments. Microsoft has already faced resistance at the local level, notably withdrawing a planned data center project in Caledonia, Wisconsin, after a community opposition. Joey, Microsoft, it's seen better days in terms of price action, down another 2% today.
I mean, it's been on a monster run, but as for just just handing the price over, the price increases over to the American consumer isn't fair. Something has to happen. I mean, you're going to see the costs of living continuously gradually rise, obviously with inflation and everything along those lines, but it shouldn't be going up 6% year over year. The hyperscalers, the individuals who are responsible for building these massive data centers and the cost of energy should absolutely have to take care of 100% of that cost and make sure that the infrastructure is there so it's not a continuous and gradual rise in expenses for the consumer.
Exactly. No, I have to agree with that. I mean, as much as I do want to see the AI build-out continue and the data centers get built, let's call a spade a spade. Yeah. Electricity and water are two things that these things run through, bro. Run through. And so, if there can be some more efficiencies there, it'd be fantastic.
I mean, we talked about some of the build-outs in the warmer climates, right? Like, I think it's really important to note that you're going to use that hydro, but go a little bit more north where you don't have to expend so much hydro. You know what I mean?
You got Elon wanting to take it to space now, right? Because it's cold,
why
right?
Not?
Yeah,
I know. Space. I don't know how that's going to work. Where you can have wires and stuff hanging down from space and everything along those lines.
No, there's not going to be any wires. No. Joey, it's going to be solar power, baby.
Yeah, solar power.
All right, let's talk about Nvidia clarifying the H200 payment terms. There was some uncertainty about that, but there is a newer headline on this. We'll get that in a second. So Nvidia said it does not require, or it will not require, upfront payments for its H200 AI chips, pushing back on earlier reports that suggested that they were insisting on unusually strict terms for their Chinese customers. NVIDIA emphasized that its standard commercial practices remain intact despite the heightened political scrutiny. There were sources that indicated to the report, who I think it was Reuters, that NVIDIA had historically required advance payments from some Chinese clients, though deposits rather than full prepayment were sometimes accepted. For the H200 specifically, though, NVIDIA said they've been stricter in the past due to uncertainty over whether the Chinese regulators will approve shipments. They're saying they're not doing that this time around. That's what's being said. But the whole point of this is requiring stronger payment commitments for that H200 would effectively shift the financial risk from NVIDIA to customers. So what happens, NVIDIA, makes these H200s, it tries to sell them to, let's say, Baidu or Alibaba, then the Chinese regulator wakes up on the wrong side of the bed one day and says, no more H200s into this country, or like the news headline we got today, they're severely restricting the amount that come in. Chinese buyers could also be forced to commit capital without certainty that imports would be approved. But by having upfront payments, NVIDIA would be shifting the risk to the buyer as opposed to them making it with Taiwan Semi, then not really finding a buyer. Any perception of tougher sales terms or reduced China exposure can impact near-term sentiment, and we know that that has been very much the case with NVIDIA in China, as it used to be about 20% of their revenue, and then, to use Jensen's words, at least before the H200 shipments, it's basically zero.
Yeah, what this is telling me that the high demand, obviously, for the American chips is that they don't have the quality that they say that they do, and Huawei is still leaps and bounds behind. So, I mean, it was previously talked about. We had a lot of the larger institutions applying for the permit because we needed that earlier, and it was approved. But then things obviously take a couple steps back. But this just shows the demand, and that China is not where we think they may be, considering there's high demand for NVDA's chips, which is American-based.
Absolutely agree. So here's the updated headline here. So the Chinese government this week told some tech companies it would only approve their purchases of NVIDIA's H200 under, quote, special circumstances such as, university research. This was reported by The Information today, citing two people with direct knowledge of the situation. We're not going to go any more into this other than to say that this came out after the writing of this article, hence why it was not included in the morning note. Adira, give us your take on the H200 and the tie-up with NVIDIA.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the first part of the story, not super interesting to me. I think the one thing that I do want to do once again is like just a moment to kind of touch in terms of analyzing and reading the news, right? Especially when it's breaking news. I've done this a little bit before here on this desk. I think it's a good time to do it again now. So with regards to this second NVIDIA story, you guys can see here, this is when we had that spike. If I can, there we go. There's the button. Okay. Oh, someday it'll do it. I'm being too finicky. Anyway, so the point is this kind of drop and then pop. So yes, obviously now we're trading a lot lower in NVIDIA, but initially the reaction to that story, while negative, the stock shot up a lot higher. Now, why was that the case? Because of the source. The information is, as I've said a couple times now, it's not anymore viewed as a really trusted source, specifically when it comes to these NVIDIA stories. So again, I'm not saying like, oh, immediately ignore the news. That's not at all what I'm saying. But I'm saying, I think one thing too is always worth noting when you get these stories, and I always try to provide that context when I give them to you as well, especially for intraday breaking news trades, is assess where is the news coming from, who is kind of saying it, and what is the context there within, because I think that can really help it. For example, if you got short off this news and then it immediately pops, that's obviously not a situation anyone wants to be in. So the point I'm trying to make here is always just be cautious of your news consumption, much like when Trump pumped Amazon after hours that day. I think this was like December 30th, and then it turns out it was an old story that he reposted from like a month earlier. So just always be cautious with the news consumption because it can really impact how the markets react to data.
Thank you very much. All right. Google expanding pixel manufacturing into Vietnam. They plan to begin developing and manufacturing the high-end pixel in Vietnam later this year. This is according to Nikkei Asia. The move builds on Google's existing supplier network in Vietnam, which already assembles certain pixel devices. It's a strategic alternative manufacturing hub. And by strategic alternative, we're talking, of course, about moving away from China. Google will conduct also new product introduction activities into Vietnam for the Pixel Pro, and the Pixel Fold models. NPI here is a critical phase of the production process that includes process development, the testing, and the refinement before the mass production and the sale to consumers. So usually that's typically done in China or at home. But the lower end Pixel A series development, that's going to remain in China for now. They're not going to shift that. So Google will still have some production in on mainland China. Google already produces, or mass produces, I should say, Joey, some high-end smartphones in Vietnam, so making the transition a bit more seamless since they already have experience there. But expanding NPI, the new product introduction, locally should shorten the feedback loops between the refinement and mass production. Reuters could not independently verify the report, and Google did not comment to the writers of this article. So speculation, at least for now. What do you think?
I thought we were supposed to start onshoring, Sharif. In Vietnam.
How about this friendshoring too, right? Onshoring, friendshoring, nearshoring. There's a lot of shoring.
So is that what's going on here? Friendshoring over
Well,
here?
Apparently Vietnam's more of a friend than China at the moment.
Ooh,
I guess.
Okay,
I don't know.
Taiwan. I guess Taiwan no longer a friend. No, but in all seriousness, expansion. I'm not surprised by it. Google's going to continue to grow. It's going to expand wherever across the globe as long as Donald Trump approves. It's not going to pass that easy. If he has something to say something about it, he will. And I wouldn't be surprised if it comes up in the near future.
I wouldn't be surprised either. Tesla essentially flat on the day, down 0.1. They're expanding their Model Y. So here's the deal. We saw a bigger Model Y coming out in China, and now you're going to get one in North America. We're going to talk more about this, but I believe Adira has breaking news at the big desk.
Dude, Novo Nordisk spiking lower here. Novo Nordisk CEO Magyar Mike Dustar saying that you should expect some headwinds in international operations in 2026, noting that the loss of exclusivity in a number of markets could result in Novo, quote, maybe having a difficult year. So again, CEO of Novo Nordisk warning of some difficulties for the company in 2026. Back to you.
All right, let's talk about Tesla unveiling a new 7-seat Model Y SUV for the North American market. It's going to be a 7-seat configuration. You'll recall in a second, well, I'll show you in a second, China had a 6-seat variant. This one's going to be 7. It's going to be available on the premium and the performance trims, and it's going to feature a refreshed interior and a larger 16-inch touchscreen. I think that's the same size they're putting in the Cybe. Price starts around $51,490 US, so likely about 75, 80,000 Canadian. I exaggerate for effect. And it's also going to include 30 days of full self-driving, quote, supervised. So you're going to get a trial there, but it does come with the car. Now let's talk about China. Tesla's 6-seat Model Y in China continues to perform well. We know they like those larger cars over there as more people get driven around than they do here. December deliveries in China topped 93,000 units, which was a 13.2% year-over-year growth, which is a key data point, especially for global demand, because we've seen the weakness in North America as well as Europe. And Tesla is pursuing expanded full self-driving approval in Europe, with Dutch regulators confirming the targeted February 2026 timeline. That's good, but that could slip. No confirmation there yet. And the European Model Y offers WLTP range near 423 miles, supporting the competitive push that Tesla's trying to regain in that continent. But the software approval for FSD, Joey, that remains a gating factor. And I don't think he's going to have many sympathetic regulators
in Europe.
Let's just cut the crap.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's something that I found the most comical, because he's obviously looking to expand. But how many fines is he going to have to go through once he does get the expansion and it's approved or whatever? I think that's a smart move for them, right? If they're going to continuously fine these American companies, yeah, no problem, brother. But then we're just, from a regulatory standpoint, fine.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be
for
Elon and company. So by all means, 50.
51. Guys,
go.
You guys see
51.
it on the board there. I mean, we are literally 51 subscribers short of hitting 550,000. And obviously, these are big milestones for us. So it was less than a year. that we hit 500,000. So we're super pumped about that. If you already have it, man, please hit the subscribe button right there. Let's get to that 550,000 on the midday show. We've got like 40 minutes.
I'm gonna pull the tape.
Hold on, there's alcohol in the back too.
I'm not, brother. I might not even be drinking for all of 26.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a couple of drinks in Aruba.
Well, I would too if I was on vacation. I had a couple of.
I love how someone unsubscribed.
Oh, who unsubbed?
Why do you do that? Why do you do that?
No,
it's just
we're not
for
getting
trolls.
any upticks like they were doing earlier. Now you got to sub back in. There he is. They're back right now.
All right, guys.
Let's get 5 up there.
If you could hit the subscribe button, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be absolutely fantastic.
We'd really
550,000. So Scott Tallman says, I've thought about quitting altogether as well. Yeah, I mean, it's just not fun. It's just not fun anymore, man. For
no,
me,
it's really anyway.
I'd rather hit the gym and do other things.
I tried to bring something else with me to Aruba, but it didn't work out that way. Let's go on to the next story. So we got a couple of different upgrades today by KeyBank Capital, one on Intel, one on AMD. We're going to talk about both of them because they're not the same. So Capital Bank, KeyBank Capital Markets, I should say, upgraded Intel and AMD to overweight. Analysts cited stronger than expected hyperscaler demand and tightening memory supply. We also know the firm likes the fact that AI-driven infrastructure buildouts are now materially impacting pricing, capacity planning, and margins across all the CPUs and memory sales, with KeyBank saying that Intel is largely sold out of its CPUs through all of 2026. Server CPUs, I should mention, not for like desktop computers and laptops, server CPUs. Hyperscalers absorbed the majority of that supply. The demand imbalance is actually giving Intel room to consider a 10 to 15% increase on the average selling price, the ASP, which is obviously going to be quite accretive for margins. So who can complain about that? Maybe that's why this thing's up 7.5% on the day, and it was up about 8 earlier. Also, they like what Intel is doing with the 18A node. I spoke to you guys about this last year when we were talking about their foundry business, and we were talking about one of the reasons that they haven't gotten a big anchor client like an Nvidia or an AMD, well, they're doing business with AMD now, is because of the yield for their 18A node. It's now improved. Their 18A yields are now above 60%, a notable improvement from where they were. And better yields reduce execution risk and improve gross margin confidence. So something to note there, and KeyBank noting that as well. KeyBank also focusing on Intel's foundry business that was highlighted as an underappreciated part. And they said that Intel has landed Apple for the low-end M-series processors on its 18A node, and their discussions around the future of the A-series processors, which Apple's puts into the iPhone, for possibly later this decade. No confirmation yet, but at least they've landed them for some of the lower M-series processors. We're going to pause for a second. We're going to get Joey's take in a minute, but we're going back to the big desk.
Trump's tour is now live. So again, Trump now touring the Ford facility live with CEO Jim Farley wearing a vest with his name on it. So I'll keep you guys posted here in this event. It's just really just Trump talking to Ford people in a Ford trailer. The stock does not care right now. Back to you.
What do you make of this? This is they gave Intel quite a nod today.
They give him a big time nod. I mean, Sharif, they had a price target raised to approximately around $60, which is going to be more than 25% from where we're currently trading at. But I like everything that they got going on. Lip-Bu hasn't even served a full year yet as the CEO. So, I mean, he's on the right trajectory. A lot of it is helped, though, and I'm not, like, I think this is what the majority of it has to do, is obviously the 10% stake. 10% stake from the company. So, I mean, it's moving in the right direction, but let's not beat around the bush. A lot of it has to do with the government stake in the company.
Remember where I told you, like, what would the first thing, if you're taking an interest in a company, what's the first thing you're doing? You're looking for a client for that company, right?
I mean, they struggled for how long to find any?
And they're still, like, I mean, Nvidia's passed on the 18A twice now. They've passed on the 18A node. But maybe when those yields...
Didn't Apple say that we're not quite ready?
Well, they're going to do the lower M-series processors with Intel, and they may switch to the A-series processors, this article saying later in the decade. Let's talk about the other upgrade KeyBank Capital Markets had today, which was on AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. They upgraded them to overweight. on the ground supply chain checks in Asia. They like that. Analysts pointed to hyperscaler demand that is overwhelming server CPU and reshaping pricing power as well. They credit tightening DRAM and NAND availability, which is accelerating the urgency among these cloud customers to secure their compute capacity. Same thing they said with Intel here, that AMD is almost completely sold out of its server CPUs for all of 2026, with being the dominant buyers, I should say, being the hyperscalers. However, when it came to AMD, KeyBank was quick to note that their CPU business will grow at least 50% this year, driven by cloud and AI workloads, and they anticipate their AI-related revenue is going to be about $14 to $15 billion just this year, with shipments of the MI55 leading the way. But there's even bigger ramp for the MI455 powered by the Helios platform, Joey. So I know you were all about that life earlier as well. Memory shortage, like I mentioned, tight DRAM and NAND supply is expected to pressure the PC market. That could actually hurt some of AMD's their CPUs for desktop as well as laptops, so it may not do well in that regard. However, KeyBank's kind of overlooking that, and they're saying, look, we view this as a net positive for their gross margin mix because their AI business is so much larger than their PC business now. So if their PC business suffers, it's at the expense of something greater in the AI business. So they're seeing possibly weakness here in their PC business as kind of good. So not sure how you take that.
You have, like, AMD's, well, I wouldn't say dominance, but it dominated a lot of the PC gaming, obviously one of the more popular with its Ryzen series and everything along those lines. But for quite some time, it was supposed to be a neck-and-neck race between NVDA and in AMD. This stock has recovered tenfold, essentially, from those lows. You get 239%. I think it's going to continue to do so. Might be a little bit of noise here, Sharif. The trajectory, obviously, with the 400 series coming into play, I think it was at 27 that Lisa Su has, the M400s, which I'm referring to. I think that's going to help drive it. It has big-time deals. The Saudis signed a deal with AMD, and then also with the, what's the massive deal again here? Stargate, AMD with Stargate as well, too. So I think they'll be just fine.
All right, let's go on to the next story. ARM. Oh boy, where are we at on ARM? Did we cover? 3.5%. So ARM Holdings was downgraded to neutral by Bank of America Securities, citing near-term slowdown in revenue growth. Analysts said ARM is becoming reliant on its major backer, aka SoftBank. The downgrade reflects growing caution on ARM's licensing and royalty trajectory rather than the long-term strategic relevance. So let's talk about this reliance here. So Bank of America expects low to single-digit declines in the global smartphone unit shipments, and rising memory costs as well and ongoing supply constraints are seen as weighing on handset demand. That's not new. We talked about that yesterday. We talked about these, well, I think it was Taiwan Semi who said we're really focusing the majority of our production for AI and data centers rather than for the cell phone market, which kind of, has a bit of an maybe a bit of a bellwether for weakening demand for cell phones, but we'll see. Even modest unit declines have an outsized impact on revenue growth because ARM relies so much on it. Licensing revenue and for fiscal 2026, they're saying it could decline by about 5% year over year, and SoftBank now accounts for up to 30% of ARM's total licensing revenue. So that's what they mean when they say you're relying too much on one client. Despite the near-term pressure, though, Bank of America did want to caveat this whole downgrade by saying that ARM remains well-positioned to benefit from rising chip design complexity, and they maintain a $120 price target on ARM. What's your take here, Joey?
Yeah, I mean, this name was a pretty hot IPO. You're down 41% off of that previous pivot high. It's not too good of a look right now. I mean, you're still holding in that zone. Let's calculate where we are from that IPO in 23, September of 23. You're still up 92%. Not too horrible of a look, but from a technical standpoint, watch out for some key necklines that are going to be broken. Right now it's going to be at that $107 mark. And I'm saying we're going to head into 80, but this is a really key pivot that you want to keep an eye out on here in ARM Holdings.
Okay, let's go on to Micron. A lot of microchip, semiconductor, RAM names. Bank of America raised their price target on Micron to $400 from $300. Despite that, Micron's down 2% on the day, but up another 18.75% year to date after having a 200% year last year, by the way. Analyst Vivek Arya reiterated the firm's buy rating, noting the stock still has upside potential despite the massive run it had last year. The new target implies, by the way, a 16% upside from yesterday's close. Here's what he's saying. Spot and contract pricing, both for DRAM and NAND, have surged in recent weeks. Obi was telling you guys last week, I think, or even the week before that, he was looking at upgrading the RAM on his PC. He's like, nah, I'll wait. While B of A views near-term pricing as aggressive and potentially abnormal, it does expect elevated pricing to persist in the first quarter of this year. We'll have to see whether that decelerates in second quarter of this year. That's what they're looking at keeping an eye on. Industry capital spending remains controlled. So if you're looking for kind of maybe headwinds because of CapEx, they say no. Micron is not overspending, and that's helping prevent oversupply conditions, which is seen in prior cycles. So they're not producing too much so as not to lower the price and maintain the margins. They're also crediting Samsung for a disciplined CapEx approach as a key factor of keeping supply tight across the market and keeping, obviously, prices elevated. But I've just seen this before with RAM. It's very cyclical. Once there's a glut of inventory, they can't sell it. But in this case, they can't get enough of it. And the valuation of Micron, by the way, it's trading at, not too bad, about 32.88, so let's say 33 PE. They say the premium is justified in their view by sustained memory upcycle and expanding earnings power, especially with inventory still low. So Micron, Joey, it was a monster last year. Yeah. It's up another almost 20% this year, and it's only been a couple of weeks. What's the look? Oh.
200%. That's the look, but we went through multiple names here, Sharif. Just be cautious, enjoy the ride up, but then you want to keep an eye out for the ride down. As you mentioned, there's like a lot of inventory, and when there is, but then there's not enough when you need it. Just watch out for that tide to kind of turn here, and if it does flip, watch out for a hefty decrease in the actual price action. You might see something around 30% or even a little bit more. Where's 30% bring you down to approximately 230, which isn't
That's a good
horrible.
support level.
Yeah, it's not horrible, right? It's going to put you right around this neckline. 265 could be a potential zone here in Micron, but don't stand in front of a moving freight chain. It's the exact same. What name were we talking about earlier that we're kind of using? Google, right? Like it has a lot going for it. But we said that with Microsoft as well too. Yeah, exactly. But watch out what happens after, because once you have that exuberant buying and everybody's really, really giddy, there's a seller, right? There's a buyer for every seller. There's a seller for every buyer. We'll head over to Microsoft. You don't want to get caught on the wrong side, so don't chase. Be patient, and sure enough, your levels will come into play because this move was, how long was it? May all the way, it peaked until July. So you get a couple of strong months, and then sure enough, you've done almost nothing from that point. So just be cautious with Micron. It can do the exact same thing, and it's by no means a Microsoft, in my opinion.
All right, guys, a couple of updates here. Thanks to John Del Segno. RCAT at the day high, 1350. What a recovery. This thing was negative on the day. In fact, created a bottom there at around 1170, and now it's at 1350. Just took out the high there. I believe high a day is 13. No, it's got to be above that. 13 low 50s there. So good look for RCAT. Also, VG. Nice breakout here for VG, long area of consolidation, respecting VWAP on multiple attempts, and then there it goes, taking out 8. This one looked like a flat top break waiting to happen. Higher lows, all the while that $8 area was a staunchy level of resistance. Well, that's in the rearview mirror now with an 825 high. Keep your eye on VG, looking real good over here. Let's go to the next story. JP Morgan Chase leading off bank earnings today. And I think they're still down on the day. Let me just a quick look. Yeah, 3.75%. So JP Morgan getting clipped here, but it was a good report. So let's talk about it. A solid fourth quarter beat driven primarily by stronger than expected trading volume. EPS 523, well ahead of the 5 that the street was expecting on revenue of $46.77 billion. That's ahead of the 46.02. So an easy beat top and bottom line. And by the way, notable revenue beat here because last year's expectations were kind of high. So the fact that they were able to outdo them, because remember, obviously we had that tailwind with the election and whatever. So tough year-over-year comparisons that they were able to beat. So not a bad look, just from the earnings. I'm not talking about price action. But this is where they encountered some issues. Their actual profits fell 7% year over year. And that's not because of anything that they did poorly in the year. It's because of the Apple credit card that they acquired from Goldman Sachs. They had to take a $2.2 billion hit as a result of that, which equated to about 60 cents per share if you're looking at it from an EPS perspective. So that did mask the underlying strength. So EPS would have been higher, profit would have been higher had it not been for their takeover of the Apple card loan portfolio from Goldman Sachs. As I mentioned, trading did very well. Wall Street trading desks continue to benefit from higher volatility and healthier market participation, says the article. And investment banking as well, activity has stabilized after a weaker prior cycle. The sector is operating in what analysts are calling this Goldilocks environment, where you have easing rates from the Fed. You also have stable consumer credit. Defaults are not at historical highs or even at, great financial crisis highs, and you have lighter regulatory pressure. And that's something we've been talking a lot about when it comes to the banks. We're still waiting for that deregulatory push or a deregulation tailwind to take place that President Trump has been talking about since coming back into office. Haven't quite seen it yet. We're going to pause for a second. We're going to Adara, and then we're going to get Joey's take.
Yeah, it appears here that this tour with U.S. President Trump at Ford is either done or it's paused. All of the news segments pausing their coverage of the stream. So again, it's unclear if his tour is still happening, but right now, no live coverage. I'll keep you posted on the situation. F on watch. Back to you.
PM.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough, it's a tough look here today. That 392 if it breaks, but watch out. We've seen this before time and time again in the banks. I think you're going to get a discount on this. What's the PE on JPM, actually? I want to figure that out right now.
Give me one second.
Yeah, let's find out what that is.
JPM, my man, it is 1607.
All right, yeah, what's that? Yeah, so you know what I mean? I think people are going to be
higher than the industry, though.
Is it, what's the industry
average? 12.07,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so a little bit higher than the industry average.
Well, yeah, when you pay a premium for JPM?
Every single day, right? And I think that's going to be the case. But CIB, guys, once again, delivered relatively well. Let's go over some of those numbers. I know Shreve was talking about it. Net income contribution at $7.3 billion on $19.4 billion of revenue. ROE around the high teens and overrated ratio of around high 40s. Revenue was up around 10% year over year. I think this name's going to continue to grow. I remember when I started to see the substantial growth in JPM is when they acquired SVB's book. It just went parabolic. I think JPM's just going to be completely fine, considering they are looking to move a lot of its networking and everything to do with the financials onto the blockchain, making it a significantly more efficient company. Watch out for JPM to climb to new highs.
That's going to be amazing
in the near future.
Yeah, I like the blockchain thing that you're talking about. That's something we've been hearing a lot more about.
Yeah.
Let's go on to Delta, also reporting earnings this morning. Interesting take from Delta. Where is it at right now? DAL still getting crushed. Where is it at? Well, a little bit less than 2 1/3. American Airlines is doing worse than Delta, funny enough, but here it is. Delta expects earnings to jump more than 20% this year versus 25, driven by strong travel demand and high yield customers. I like that's how is that what they're calling rich people now? High yield customers? I like that. Management guided adjusted EPS of $6.50 to $7.50. That's for the year, which is kind of slightly wide because analysts were looking for $7.25 for the year. So kind of a little bit within the range. They're also forecasting up to 7% sales growth in the first quarter of this year, signaling continued momentum for 2026. Here's what CEO Eddie Bastian said. He said, look, Delta is sitting essentially at the top of this K-shaped economy. And we've been talking a lot more about that, the K-shaped economy where the rich are doing better and the people, that are not rich having a bit of a harder time about it. And here's what he means by that. Nearly all planned seat growth that the company wants to put online this year will be in premium cabins with very, very little actually projected to expand in the main cabin. Their premium ticket revenue rose 9% year over year on the quarter in Q4, bringing in $5.7 billion. That number is actually exceeding their revenue from the main cabin. So obviously you charge a lot more for premium, but in the economy cabin is just so many more seats, right? About a third of the plane, 2/3 of the plane is economy. Main cabin revenue fell 7% year over year in Q4, down to 5.62, and that's what I mean by premium ticket revenue now exceeding main cabin ticket revenue. That highlights obviously the divergence between price sensitive and affluent flyers. Full year main cabin revenue still exceeding premium classes. So for the full year, economy still bringing in more top line dollars, not profit, top line than premium. Here's how they did in the actual quarter. It was a mixed result. 155 EPS beating 153, a slight beat there. They did miss on revenue, 14.61 billion. The street was looking for 14.69, but their Q4 profit, their take-home money, rose 45% year over year. They're bringing in just a little bit less than $1 billion a quarter in profit on the quarter, and it's not. I'm assuming we're not really surprised by that because they're selling so much more premium, which is obviously a much more profitable product. They did announce as well more Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner orders, 30 in total. That's going to begin deliveries in 2031, and they maintain the option to buy another 30 if they require it. So good look for Boeing from that regard as well.
Yeah, from Boeing as well. Delta's been performing pretty good, performing relatively well. Sharif, like, I mean, you go to the April lows, you get a 97%. So this thing almost doubled up its stock price. Obviously, the higher end consumer doing well, growing at 7%. Margins starting to increase 10% year over year. Raising full year 2026 guidance, 20% EPS growth, which is substantial, going from $6.50 to $7.50. I like what the airlines have been doing. So they've been performing really, really well as of late.
Let me ask you a question.
AAL, DAL, UAL.
You're going to Asia.
Yeah.
Obviously, a long-ass flight.
Yeah.
We know that. 12 hours, more.
Yep.
Do you ante up for premium?
Well, you said it's around $4,500.
That's
no?
American.
That's American.
So like,
this is like
15,000 Canadian.
Yeah, it's like $7
No,
grand.
exactly.
No, it's like literally $6 Canadian.
Yeah. Would you ante up
to 500?
on a longer haul flight? Like I mean specifically longer haul. Where, you know.
But is it going to be like 8 times? Like, I mean, if the ticket's $500.
Should we do it live?
We may as well do it live.
We're going to do it live?
It depends. It truly depends.
Should we go on that hot garbage Air Canada? Yeah. I hate this
No, that's the most expensive one, man.
Well,
it's probably the only place where you're going to catch a flight, too, though, to be honest.
Air Canada.
Direct.
All right, wait, Joey, because I went to the wrong one. There we go. Let's do it live. Let's do it live.
Garbage.
All right, where are we going, Joey, first and foremost?
All right, let's go over to...
we want to go somewhere far.
Yeah, far. Let's go to Phuket, Thailand.
Bro, oh my goodness.
You said far.
All right. Let's go.
We're gonna. I'm pretty sure it is.
We're gonna travel on a Saturday. We're gonna go February 7th.
That's the most expensive day.
Most expensive. My bad. We'll go Wednesday.
We'll go Wednesday.
We'll go Wednesday. All right.
HKT.
All right. Hold on, and then we're gonna return a few weeks later. Let's just say 2-week trip. Okay.
Yeah.
18th. Select. We're going to Phuket. How do I spell that? PHU?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just HKTR.
Oh, this guy knows. I like it. Phuket,
boom.
Thailand. All right. YYZ to HKT, February 4th to February 18th.
No promotion.
Hold on. Where is the? How do we select?
Yeah, search, brother.
I know, but I want to choose premium.
Oh, it'll come up here.
It'll let me do it?
Yeah,
all right. So here, let's do it. Let's do it live right now. Let's find out exactly how much this is going to cost us so we can see the difference. The one I was telling Brendo about this. Okay, here we go. Premium economy is $4,400. Joey, you want first class? You want business class? $8,200.
$8,200.
All right, so let's just do the comparisons.
Yeah.
So we're going to say direct flights only, right? So we got to filter.
I don't know if you'll get that.
Well, yeah. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that then, so we won't screw it up. So, if you want to go economy, it'll cost you $1,743. All right. You want to go premium economy, cost you $4,400. You want to live large? You want to do it big? $8,273.
$8,200.
These are not like comparable prices, dude. That's not a. That's just. It's a different world if you want to spend that kind of money. So. That's the way that is. All right, let's go on to the next story. L3 Harris lands a $1 billion U.S. government investment in their rocket motor business. More on their rocket motor business. It's not going to be part of L3 Harris for long. They're spinning it off. The government will invest $1 billion in the rocket motor business to secure a reliable supply of propulsion systems. These motors are used across key platforms like the Tomahawk cruise missiles, the Patriot, the THAAD, and Standard missiles, all of which are seeing increased demand as the world rearms. We know that. The move follows recent criticism from President Trump aimed at defense contractors over their slow weapon production and their delivery times. We saw them, I think that was last week. L3 Harris, though, they're going to spin off their rocket motor business into a new standalone publicly traded company. The U.S. government investment will take the form of a convertible security, which will automatically convert into common equity at the time of the IPO, which is expected in the second half of this year. More on that in a second. L3 Harris will retain a majority ownership and control of the spun-off company, which ensures continued consolidation of earnings and strategic influence. This marks the first direct-to-supplier investment under the Pentagon's new acquisition transformation strategy, which is aimed at stabilizing critical supply chains and lowering long-term procurement costs. The deal effectively guarantees, though, for L3 Harris, that is, future demand for the spun-off missiles propulsion unit because the government is going to be buying them. And so the IPO of the rocket motor business, as I mentioned, is planned in the second half of this year, offering the government a potential financial return on its investment. And JP Morgan said they're serving as a financial advisor with Vinson and Elkins acting as legal counsel to L3 Harris on this IP spinoff. Joey, L3 Harris, what's a look?
What's the ticker on this bad boy here? I don't see it on.
LRX.
LRX. Let's take a look at LRX here. See what we got going.
Oh, so LCX or something like I forget, man. Let me find out. Give me a sec. Do I have my military thing there? Where is it? Where is it? LHX, excuse me.
LHX. Let's see what we got going on from a technical standpoint here. L3 Harris Technologies. Ooh, not too good of a look here today, Sharif. $390, roughly around $388, and it moved down to $341.
It gapped up and it filled the entire gap.
Big time.
Why is it getting crapped on like that? It's not good?
It's getting smoked, brother.
Yeah.
It's getting smoked. But I mean, hey, it's touching all-time highs. We're going to use our April low as our benchmark, as we typically do. You're still up 73%. Not too bad of a look whatsoever in L3 Harris Technologies. Defense names. I don't know. We'll see if they can continue to rock and roll. What has LMT been up to here, Sharif? Was Lockheed wasn't your pick, was it?
No, it was Northrop Grumman.
Northrop Grumman. Okay, so I mean, it's been performing. LHX has been performing significantly better than what LMT has been. So go with the flow. A massive gap up. It fills this. I wouldn't be surprised, but this is like a 90-degree angle right here, Sharif. That's not going to be sustainable whatsoever.
Yeah,
that's straight up. You can't. That's insane.
They have a tie-up with Palantir as well. I remember when the L3 Harris CEO was on CNBC with Alex Karp.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was it.
And he's like an appropriate guy, right? We all know what Alex Karp is like, right?
Yeah, but Alex Karp was on that interview just like us.
He's
we need
wild,
to get in the Department of Offense.
Yes, do you remember that?
Yeah, man, it was crazy.
So good.
Guys, like we need organic missiles, like organic seeking missiles and everything. He's all about the
destruction
about that
life
of people. I
don't dislike him, man. I don't dislike him at all. He just calls a spade a spade.
I like Alex Karp.
I don't
and for
dislike
quite some
him at all.
time, a lot of people didn't like him. He was talking about why are people continuously shorting my stock,
Yeah, he was losing it. He was losing it. I just want to mention one thing quickly, Joey. Shout out to Bubba. ONDS continuing to make a move, guys. Not a bad look. ONDS, and then all of a sudden, Bubba's telling me about CODA as well. A lighter on volume on CODA, but breaking out 346,000 shares. This is light, so be careful with this one. But RCAT continuing to go. Just got into the high a day of 1386, a bit of a red candle now, but a great recovery for RCAT for those who are keeping their eye on these midday movers. All right, let's go on to the next story. We're done with L3 Harris. Let's talk a little Warner Brothers. They're suing, or Paramount is suing Warner Brothers. So let's talk about this. Paramount Skydance has filed a lawsuit against Warner Brothers Discovery in Delaware, demanding fuller disclosure around WBD's support for a rival Netflix deal. The move marks one of PSKY's most aggressive steps yet in an attempt to wrest control of Warner Brothers and its prized film and television assets. Paramount also announced plans to nominate directors to Warner Brothers board, signaling a push to directly influence governance and investor sentiment. Holy, they're not giving up. God dang. All right, competing bids. So Paramount, we know, is offering an all-cash bid of $30 a share, valuing Warner Brothers at about $108.7 billion. We know that. It argues it's simpler and more attractive for shareholders. Netflix's competing proposal values the transaction at $27.75 a share and includes a cash and stock structure, along with a separation of Warner Brothers' legacy media assets like their TV and cable business. Warner Brothers board has rejected Paramount's latest bid, and they urge shareholders to support the Netflix transaction instead. Here's the legal strategy that Paramount's trying to employ. Their lawsuit seeks to force Warner Brothers to disclose the financial analysis and the rationale behind its board's endorsement of the Netflix deal. They argue, Paramount that is, they argue investors need this information before deciding whether to tender their shares ahead of the January 21st offer deadline. Warner Brothers responded by calling the lawsuit meritless, saying Paramount has failed to raise its bid or fix structural weakness in its proposal. They've been holding out that, basically saying their finances aren't guaranteed, despite the old man Larry Ellison throwing his name into the hat there. Paramount claims, by the way, that Netflix's transaction is not financially superior to its cash offer, and it would face more regulatory complexity. There could be an argument for that. We already know what President Trump has said. It also plans to propose a bylaw amendment which would require shareholder approval for any cable TV spinoff, which is a key component of the Netflix deal. Recall, the Netflix deal requires WBD to spin off their legacy media assets before Netflix acquires them. Lastly, the bid is backed by $40 billion in equity guarantees from Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison and $54 billion in debt financing. This underscores, of course, the seriousness despite no price increase yet. Joey, are they making a mistake by not increasing that $30 per share price and kind of trying to give the board something more to think about?
I don't know. I think what Larry Ellison and company are just having a big time just accepting the fact that Warner Brothers doesn't want to accept their offer for whatever reason. Obviously, saying that the Netflix bid is superior. I think they just need to let it go and allow Netflix to just take on the deal. Paramount's guidance is going to be just fine, in my opinion. Just take the loss, Larry Ellison and company, in my opinion, and just move on. Because they're just prolonging this. It's costing them more and more money as this is prolonged throughout the duration of this dispute between the two companies or the two corporations.
All right, Adira, give us your take on this latest issue.
Yeah, this is really interesting because I was randomly thinking about this last night, and then I was like, oh, I wonder if I'm going to get the chance to talk about this if Paramount's guidance is going to do another thing. I mean, yeah, to be fair, like this whole suing for information, this happened yesterday, but I do think I have kind of a fresher take, at least in my own brain, as to what's happening here. And by fresh, I mean I kind of just came to this. So I still, like I've always said, I think I would rather prefer that Netflix gets Warner Brothers. But here's the thing. I was thinking about it yesterday. I'm like, why does Paramount even think it needs Warner Brothers? This is really what I'm thinking, because they're doing ads now with Helen Mirren. I saw one yesterday. That's really what made me start thinking about this. I'm like, if you're getting Helen Mirren and just throwing money at her for an ad, I'm like, you can be using your resources in better ways, guys, like than doing this WBD acquisition thing. The thing is, they've got all of those like Taylor Sheridan shows. So I know he's, I believe, split ways with them. They've got like Landman, Yellowstone, all that stuff. They have, I mean, it's, you know, their app still sucks, but they do have a television empire. I don't know why this is the hill they're deciding to die on at this point, to kind of like go home. Like, you know, you're not going to win this, just go home. And I think the other thing here with this PSKY Warner Brothers thing I do want to mention as well with the deal aspect of things is Warner Brothers has said multiple times, like PSKY, the real difference maker is if you value our cable sector higher. If PSKY continues to throw Larry Ellison at them instead of raising the cable bid, they're not going to get an answer. They're just not going to get what they want. So I think PSKY should just either really reassess or go home. I also want to let you know, as I started speaking, Trump stepped onto the stage here at this economic forum in Detroit. He's awkwardly dancing to the God Bless America song. So nice look there for Trump. Back to you.
Oh, that looks pretty good.
Ram made that?
There you go, Rams.
Good job,
That's
Ram.
the call of the day.
That actually looks really good.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree, man. The guy's just not accepting he's going to lose this, and you're just spending more and more money, and you're going to sue. You're going to lose more money there. Like, I get it. Warner Brothers has a pretty good catalog, but Paramount, they signed the UFC deal, right? They're having I think they acquired some more other sports deals as well. I don't get it. Just leave it alone. You've lost, dude. You've lost. Accept the L.
There's got to be some reason why they keep going at it. Like, there's got to be something that they see. And do you think it's the catalog?
It has to be.
It's the catalog.
It has to be the catalog, right? Like, because think about the series that you have: Euphoria, you have Game of Thrones, and you have kind of all those other like dark series that could have major potential spin-offs. But I just don't know if it's right for Paramount, especially at this point, right? It's like you continuously try something, it's not working for you.
Right.
Why are you going to continuously go over it? Is the victory going to feel fulfilling at the end?
No, I don't think they're going to care about fulfilling. I think they want to make money.
That's fair.
Right.
I mean, obviously, but at the end of the day, there has to be somewhat of a moral victory, I think.
Do you think the shareholder route has any kind of chance of success?
I don't think so. No, I don't you feel that Warner Brothers Discovery has made up their mind and it's going to have
the board has.
You're going to have to offer something so ridiculous and overpay for this at this point in order for them to even think about it.
Which is kind of what I asked you in the beginning. Like, why didn't they bump up that 30 a share?
Yeah. You're going to have to overpay for this, right? Like, what are you going to do? You can't slap another 30% on top of your bid right now.
Yeah, well, I mean,
$40 per share.
Exactly. I mean, right. They're already talking about the money not being there. The board of Warner Brothers saying, we're worried about the money. Let's take some stuff over here. Deleon, there is a journalist who has a series of investigations into Oracle, and she talks about the reasons why Larry Ellison is doing this on purpose. Thank you. If you could tag me, Deleon12, and let me know what it is, and I could kind of look through it. I appreciate that. And then we got Larry Ellison in the chat. Big Larry Ellison just dropped $5 in the chat, and he says, Joe, here, I'll take the loss. So Big L is out.
Yeah, I've seen that. Big L is at $5. He's going to take the loss on that one. But guys, take a look at the board there. That stuff's looking pretty good. Good job, Ramin. Getting the other one. Yeah, we can work on that.
Good job, Ram.
Go to the other one there for us. Oh, it's just rotating. She's not at the desk. Go to the call of the day and have that one, the SLV. Brought to you by Nano Banana.
All right, we had one more story about Exxon. Apparently, they're weighing their options to go back into Venezuela after President
we just
Trump.
Talked about money speaking. They want to make money. They're going to head over into Venezuela, especially if they have Donald Trump, the nod from Big D.
Well, there you go. But they've had their stuff seized twice in that country, so you can not blame them if they're a little gun shy. Yeah. From going in. I'd want guarantees as well. In any event, guys, all right, that concludes the news segment. Let's take a quick look at what is running. ONDS is doing quite well, as Bovin keeps letting me know in the chat, and he's like, I called it. Get it, Bovin. Yeah, good look there, Bovin. It's not breaking down. It made a new high, as you mentioned, 1431, back into 14s it goes, but not a bad look for ONDS. RCAT as well. Let's see what the CAT is up to. Right now, KOS, we'll just load it up on another one over here because I don't take that off. RCAT was another good midday mover, good recovery after basically giving the entire ghost back. Yeah, a little bit off the highs there. And 13, high 80s, Joey. It's moving back into the 40s.
Sorry, take a couple steps back, but when I was just before Breno pointed that out, I was pulling it up. Oh, it's gone now, but consistent Paramount ads on social media apps.
Really?
Yeah, on
Snapchat?
Yeah, continuously, and that's what I was looking at there. So just continuous advertisement on Paramount's guidance. Really? And they took I think this is a big one. They took the UFC deal from ESPN Plus.
They did.
Yeah,
they did, and that's not small hands, obviously, because that's Disney. So,
sport. Best sport in the world.
All right, guys, it is now 2 o'clock. And the big boys are locked and they are loaded. Yeah. And they're going to take you guys into Power Hour. I'll see everybody momentarily at the big desk. See y'all tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel.
Be OB the rest of the week, guys. I hope everyone has a fantastic one. Yeah.
Guys, wish Joey. Okay, before we can pause for a second.